Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 1. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tent of appointment, on the first day of the second month, in the second year, after they had come out of the land of Mitzrayim, saying,
Take a census of all the congregation of the children of Israel, by their clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, every male, head by head, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army in Israel. Number them by their divisions, you and Aaron, and a man from every tribe should be with you, each one the head of his father's house. And these are the names of the men who stand with you. From Reuven, Elitzur, son of Shedeur. From Shimon, Shalumiel, son of Zurishaddai. From Yehudah, Nachshon, son of Aminadav. From Yisachar, Nathanael, son of Tzuar. From Zebulun, Eliav, son of Chelon. From the sons of Yosef, from Ephraim, Elishama, son of Amihud. From Manasseh, Gamliel, son of Pedatsur. From Binyamin, Avidan, son of Gidoni. From Dan, Achiezer, son of Amishadai. From Asher, Pagiel, son of Ochran. From Gad, Eliasaph, son of Deuel. From Naphtali, Achira, son of Enan.
These are the ones called from the congregation, leaders of their fathers' tribes, heads of the thousands of Yisrael. And Moshe and Aharon took these men who were called by name, and they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their ancestry by clans, by their fathers' houses, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, each one head by head. As Yahweh commanded Moshe, so he registered them in the wilderness of Sinai. And the children of Reuven, Yisrael's firstborn, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, every male head by head, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Reuven were 46,500. From the children of Shimon, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, of those who were registered, according to the number of names, every male head by head, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Shimon were 59,300. From the children of Gad, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Gad were 45,650. From the children of Yehudah, their genealogies by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Yehudah were 74,600. From the children of Yisachar, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Yisachar were 54,400. From the children of Zebulun, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Zebulun were 57,400. From the sons of Yosef, the children of Ephraim, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Ephraim were 40,500. From the children of Manasseh, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Manasseh were 32,200. From the children of Benjamin, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Benjamin were 35,400. From the children of Dan, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Dan were 62,700. From the children of Asher, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those who were registered of the tribe of Asher were 41,500. From the children of Naphtali, their genealogies, by their clans, by their father's house, according to the number of names, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army. Those that were registered of the tribe of Naphtali were 53,400. These were those registered whom Moshe and Aharon registered with the leaders of Israel, 12 men, each one for his father's house. And all those that were registered of the children of Israel by their fathers' houses, from 20 years old and above, everyone going out to the army in Israel, all those that were registered were 603,550. But the Levites were not registered among them by their father's tribe, because Yahweh had spoken to Moshe, saying,
Only the tribe of Levi you do not register, nor take a census of them among the children of Israel. Instead, appoint the Levites over the Mishkan of the witness, over all its furnishings, and over all that belongs to it. They bear the Mishkan and all its furnishings, and they attend to it, and camp around the Mishkan. And when the Mishkan is to go forward, the Levites take it down. And when the Mishkan is to be put up, the Levites put it up. And the stranger who comes near is put to death. And the children of Israel shall pitch their tents, everyone by his own camp, everyone by his own banner, according to their divisions. But let the Levites camp around the Mishkan of the witness, so that there be no wrath on the congregation of the children of Israel. And the Levites shall guard the duty of the Mishkan of the witness.
And the children of Israel did according to all that Yahweh commanded Moshe, so they did. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 2. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying,
The children of Israel are to camp, each one by his own banner, beside the sign of his father's house. Let them camp around the tent of appointment at a distance.
And on the east side, toward sunrise, those of the banner of the camp of Yehudah camp according to their divisions. And the leader of the children of Yehudah, Nachshon, son of Aminadab, and his army with their registered ones, 74,600. And those camping next to him is the tribe of Yisachar. And the leader of the children of Yisachar, Nathanael, son of Tzuar, and his army with its registered ones, 54,400. Then the tribe of Zebulun, and the leader of the children of Zebulun, Eliab, son of Chelon, and his army with its registered ones, 57,400. All the registered ones of the camp of Yehudah, according to their divisions, 186,400. These depart first. On the south side, the banner of the camp of Reuven, according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Reuven, Elitzur, son of Shedeur, and his army with its registered ones, 46,500. And those who camp next to him, the tribe of Shimon, and the leader of the children of Shimon, Shelomiel, son of Tsuri Shaddai, and his army with their registered ones, 59,300. Then the tribe of Gad, and the leader of the children of Gad, Eliasaph, son of Reuel, and his army with their registered ones, 45,650. All the registered ones of the camp of Reuven, according to their divisions, 151,450, and they are the second to depart. And the tent of appointment, the camp of the Levites, shall move out in the middle of the camps. As they camp, so they move out, every one in his place, by their banners. On the west side, the banner of the camp of Ephraim, according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Ephraim, Elishama, son of Ammihud, and his army with their registered ones, 40,500. And next to him, the tribe of Manasseh, and the leader of the children of Manasseh, Gamliel, son of Pedetzer, and his army with their registered ones, 32,200. Then the tribe of Benjamin, and the leader of the children of Benjamin, Avidan, son of Gidoni, and his army with their registered ones, 35,400. All the registered ones of the camp of Ephraim, according to their divisions, 108,100, and they are the third to depart. On the north side, the banner of the camp of Dan, according to their divisions, and the leader of the children of Dan, Achiezer, son of Ammishaddai, and his army with their registered ones, 62,700. And those who camp next to him, the tribe of Asher, and the leader of the children of Asher, Pagiel, son of Ochran, and his army with their registered ones, 41,500. Then the tribe of Naphtali, and the leader of the children of Naphtali, Ahirah, son of Enan, and his army with their registered ones, 53,400. All the registered ones of the camp of Dan, 157,600. They depart last with their banners. These were the registered ones of the children of Israel, by their fathers' houses, all who were registered according to their divisions of the camps, 603,550. But the Levites were not registered among the children of Israel, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And the children of Israel did according to all that Yahweh commanded Moshe. So they camped by their banners, and so they departed, each one by his clan, according to their fathers' houses. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 3. And these are the generations of Aharon and Moshe when Yahweh spoke with Moshe on Mount Sinai. And these are the names of the sons of Aharon: Nadav, the firstborn, and Avihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These are the names of the sons of Aharon, the anointed Kohanim, whom he ordained to act as Kohanim. And Nadav and Avihu had died before Yahweh, when they brought strange fire before Yahweh in the wilderness of Sinai. And they had no children. So Eleazar and Ithamar acted as Kohanim in the presence of Aharon their father. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Bring the tribe of Levi near, and put them before Aharon the Kohen, and they shall serve him, and shall guard his duty and the duty of all the congregation before the tent of appointment to do the service of the Mishkan. And they shall guard all the furnishings of the tent of appointment and the duty of the children of Israel to do the service of the Mishkan. And you shall give the Levites to Aharon and his sons. They are the given ones, given to him from among the children of Israel. And appoint Aharon and his sons, and they shall guard their kehunah. And the stranger who comes near shall be put to death.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Now look, I myself have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel, instead of every firstborn who opens the womb among the children of Israel. and the Levites shall be mine, because all the firstborn are mine. On the day that I struck all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, I kadosh to myself all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. They are mine. I am Yahweh.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai, saying,
Register the children of Levi by their fathers' houses, by their clans. Register every male from a month old and above.
So Moshe registered them according to the word of Yahweh, as he had been commanded. And these were the sons of Levi by their names, Gershon, and Kahath, and Merari. And these are the names of the sons of Gershon by their clans, Livni and Shimei. And the sons of Kahath by their clans, Amram and Yitzhar, Chevron and Uzziel. And the sons of Merari by their clans, Machli and Mushi. These are the clans of the Levites by their fathers' houses. From Gershon came the clan of the Livnites, and the clan of the Shimeites. These were the clans of the Gershonites. Their registered ones, according to the number of all the males from a month old and above. Their registered ones were 7,500. The clans of the Gershonites were to camp westward behind the Mishkan, and the leader of the father's house of the Gershonites, Eliasaph, son of Lael. And the duty of the children of Gershon in the tent of appointment was the Mishkan, and the tent with its covering, and the covering of the door of the tent of appointment, and the screens of the courtyard, and the covering of the door of the courtyard, which is around the Mishkan, and the altar, and their cords, according to all its service. And from Kahath came the clan of the Amramites, and the clan of the Yitzharites, and the clan of the Chevronites, and the clan of the Uzzielites. These were the clans of the Kehathites. In number, all the males from a month old and above were 8,600, guarding the duty of the Kodesh place. The clans of the children of Kahath were to camp on the south side of the Mishkan, and the leader of the father's house of the clans of the Kehathites was Elitzaphan, son of Uzziel. And their duty was the ark and the table, and the lampstand, and the altars, and the utensils of the Kodesh place used in the service, and the covering, and all its service. And Eleazar, son of Aharon, the Cohen, was to be chief over the leaders of the Levites, with oversight of those who guard the duty of the Kodesh place. From Merari came the clan of the Machlites, and the clan of the Mushites. These were the clans of Merari, and the number of their registered ones, all the males from a month old and above, were 6,200. And the leader of the father's house of the clans of Merari was Tsuriel, son of Avichail. These were to camp on the north side of the Mishkan. And the appointed duty of the children of Merari was the boards of the Mishkan, and its bars, and its columns, and its sockets, and its utensils, and all its service, and the columns of the courtyard all around, with their sockets, and their pegs, and their cords. And those who were to camp before the Mishkan on the east, before the tent of appointment, were Moshe and Aharon and his sons, guarding the duty of the Mikdash, and the duty of the children of Yisrael. But the stranger who came near was to be put to death. All the registered ones of the Levites, whom Moshe and Aharon registered at the command of Yahweh by their clans, all the males from a month old and above, were 22,000. And Yahweh said to Moshe,
Register all the firstborn males of the children of Israel from a month old and above, and take the number of their names. And you shall take the Levites for me. I am Yahweh. Instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel and the livestock of the Levites, instead of all the firstborn among the livestock of the children of Israel.
And Moshe registered all the firstborn among the children of Israel, as Yahweh had commanded him. And all the firstborn males, by the number of names, from 1 month old and above, of their registered ones were 22,273. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Take the Levites instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the livestock of the Levites instead of their livestock. And the Levites shall be mine. I am Yahweh. And for the ransom of the 273 of the firstborn of the children of Israel, who are more than the number of the Levites, you shall take 5 shekels for each one, head by head. Take it by the shekel of the Kodesh place, the shekel of 20 gerahs. And you shall give the silver, the ransom of those who are in excess among them, to Aaron and his sons.
And Moshe took the ransom silver from those who were over and above those who were ransomed by the Levites. From the firstborn of the children of Israel, he took the silver, 1,365 pieces, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place. And Moshe gave their ransom silver to Aharon and to his sons, according to the word of Yahweh, as Yahweh had commanded Moshe. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 4. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying,
Take a census of the sons of Kohath from among the children of Levi, by their clans, by their father's house, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who enter the service to do the work in the tent of appointment. This is the service of the sons of Kohath in the tent of appointment, the most Kodesh matters. At the breaking of camp, Aharon and his sons shall come, and they shall take down the covering veil and cover the ark of the witness with it, and shall put on it a covering of fine leather, and spread over that an all blue wrapper, and shall insert its poles. And on the table of showbread they shall spread a blue wrapper, and shall put on it the dishes, and the ladles, and the bowls, and the jars for pouring, and the showbread on it. And they shall spread over them a scarlet wrapper, and cover the same with a covering of fine leather, and shall insert its poles. And shall take a blue wrapper, and cover the lampstand of the light, with its lamps, and its snuffers, and its trays, and all its oil vessels by which they serve it. And they shall put it with all its utensils in a covering of fine leather, and put it on a bar. And over the golden altar they shall spread a blue wrapper, and cover it with a covering of fine leather, and shall insert its poles, and shall take all the utensils of service with which they serve in the Kodesh place, and shall put them in a blue wrapper, cover them with a covering of fine leather, and put them on a bar, and shall remove the ashes from the altar, and spread a purple wrapper over it, and shall put on it all its utensils by which they serve there, the fire holders, the forks, and the shovels, and the basins, and all the utensils of the altar, and shall spread on it a covering of fine leather, and insert its poles. And when Aharon and his sons have finished covering the Kodesh objects, and all the furnishings of the Kodesh place at the breaking of camp, then the sons of Kohath shall come to lift them. But let them not touch that which is Kodesh, lest they die. These are the burden of the sons of Kohath in the tent of appointment. And the oversight of Eleazar, son of Aharon the Cohen, is the oil for the light, and the sweet incense, and the daily grain offering, and the anointing oil, and the oversight of all the Mishkan, and all that is in it, with the Kodesh place and its furnishings.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying,
Do not cut off the tribe of the clans of the Kohathites from among the Levites, but do this to them, and they shall live and not die when they approach the most Kodesh objects. Aharon and his sons shall go in and appoint each of them to his service and his burden. They are not, however, to go in to watch while the Kodesh objects are being covered, lest they die.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Take a census also of the sons of Gershon, by their father's house, by their clans. Register them from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who enter to perform the service, to do the service in the tent of appointment. This is the service of the clans of the Gershonites, in serving and in bearing burdens. And they shall bear the curtains of the Mishkan and the tent of appointment with its covering, the covering of fine leather that is on it, the covering for the door of the tent of appointment, and the screens of the courtyard, and the covering for the door of the gate of the courtyard, which is around the Mishkan and altar, and their cords, all the equipment for their service, and all that is made for them, so shall they serve. Aharon and his sons are to command all the service of the sons of the Gershonites, all their burden and all their service, and you shall appoint to them all the duty of all their burden. This is the service of the clans of the sons of Gershon in the tent of appointment. And let their duties be under the hand of Ithamar, son of Aharon the Cohen. As for the sons of Merari, register them by their clans and by their father's house. Register them from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who enter the service to do the work of the tent of appointment. And this is the duty of their burden, according to all their service for the tent of appointment, the boards of the Mishkan, and its bars, and its columns, and its sockets, and the columns around the courtyard with their sockets, and their pegs, and their cords, with all their equipment and all their service. And assign by name the equipment of the duty of their burden. This is the service of the clans of the sons of Merari, as all their service for the tent of appointment under the hand of Ithamar, son of Aharon the Cohen.
So Moshe and Aharon and the leaders of the congregation registered the sons of the Kehathites by their clans and by their father's house, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who entered the service for work in the tent of appointment. And their registered ones by their clans were 2,750. These were the registered ones of the clans of the Kehathites, all those serving in the tent of appointment, whom Moshe and Aharon registered according to the command of Yahweh by the hand of Moshe. And those registered ones of the sons of Gershon by their clans and by their father's house, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who entered the service for work in the tent of appointment, the registered ones by their clans, by their father's house, were 2,630. These were the registered ones of the clans of the sons of Gershon, of all who serve in the tent of appointment, whom Moshe and Aharon registered according to the command of Yahweh. And those of the clans of the sons of Merari, who were registered by their clans, by their father's house, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who entered the service for work in the tent of appointment, the registered ones by their clans were 3,200. These were the registered ones of the clans of the sons of Merari, whom Moshe and Aharon registered according to the command of Yahweh by the hand of Moshe. All the registered ones of the Levites, whom Moshe and Aharon and the leaders of Israel registered by their clans and by their father's houses, from 30 years old and above, even to 50 years old, all who came to do the work of service and the work of bearing burdens in the tent of appointment. Their registered ones were 8,580. According to the command of Yahweh, they were registered by the hand of Moshe, each according to his service and according to his burden. Thus were they registered by him, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. Bamidbar, Numbers, Chapter 5. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Command the children of Israel, to send out of the camp every leper, and everyone who has a discharge, and whoever becomes defiled for a being. Send out both male and female. Send them outside the camp, so that they do not defile their camps, in the midst of which I dwell.
And the children of Israel did so, to send them outside the camp, as Yahweh had spoken to Moshe. So the children of Israel did. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel. When a man or woman commits any sin that men commit in trespass against Yahweh, and that being is guilty, then they shall confess their sin which they have done. And he shall restore his guilt in its principal, plus 1/5 of it, and give it to whom he has been guilty. But if the man has no relative to restore the guilt to, the guilt which is restored goes to Yahweh for the Cohen, in addition to the ram of the atonement with which atonement is made for him. And every contribution of all the Kodesh gifts of the children of Israel, which they bring to the Cohen, becomes his. And every man's Kodesh gifts becomes his. Whatever any man gives the Cohen becomes his.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When any man's wife turns aside and has committed a trespass against him, and a man has intercourse with her, and it is hidden from the eyes of her husband, and it is concealed that she has defiled herself, and there was no witness against her, nor was she caught, and a spirit of jealousy comes upon him, and he becomes jealous of his wife who has defiled herself, or a spirit of jealousy comes upon him, and he becomes jealous of his wife, although she has not defiled herself, then the man shall bring his wife to the Cohen, and he shall bring the offering for her, 1/10 of an ephah of barley flour. He is not to pour oil on it, or put frankincense on it, because it is a grain offering of jealousy, an offering for remembering, for bringing wickedness to remembrance. And the Cohen shall bring her near, and shall make her stand before Yahweh. And the Cohen shall take Kodesh water in an earthen vessel, and take some of the dust that is on the floor of the Mishkan, and put it into the water. And the Cohen shall make the woman stand before Yahweh, and shall uncover the woman's head, and put the offering for remembering in her hands, which is the grain offering of jealousy, while the Cohen holds in his hand the bitter water that brings a curse. And the Cohen shall make her swear, and say to the woman,
If no man has lain with you, and if you have not turned aside to uncleanness unto your husband, be free from this bitter water that brings a curse. But if you have turned aside unto your husband, and if you have defiled yourself, and some man other than your husband has lain with you,
then the Cohen shall make the woman swear with the oath of the curse, and he shall say to the woman,
Yahweh make you a curse and an oath among your people. When Yahweh makes your thigh waste away, and your abdomen swell. And this water that causes the curse shall go into your inward parts, and make your abdomen swell, and your thigh waste away.
And the woman shall say,
Amen, Amen.
And the Cohen shall write these curses in a book, and shall wipe them off into the bitter water, and shall make the woman drink the bitter water that brings the curse, and the water that brings the curse shall enter her to become bitter. And the Cohen shall take the grain offering of jealousy from the woman's hand, and shall wave the offering before Yahweh, and bring it to the altar. And the Cohen shall take a hand filled with the offering as its remembrance offering, and burn it on the altar, and afterward make the woman drink the water. And when he has made her drink the water, then it shall be, if she has defiled herself, and has committed a trespass against her husband, that the water that brings the curse shall enter her and become bitter, and her abdomen shall swell, and her thighs shall waste away, and the woman shall become a curse among her people. But if the woman has not defiled herself, and is clean, then she shall be clear, and shall conceive children. This is the Torah of jealousy, when a wife turns aside under her husband and defiles herself, or when a spirit of jealousy comes upon a man, and he becomes jealous of his wife. Then he shall make the woman stand before Yahweh, and the Cohen shall do to her all this Torah. And the man shall be clear from wickedness, but the woman bear her wickedness.
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 6. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, when a man or woman separates by making a vow of a Nazirite to be separate to Yahweh, he separates from wine and strong drink. He drinks neither vinegar of wine nor vinegar of strong drink. Neither does he drink any grape juice, nor eat grapes or raisins. All the days of his separation, he does not eat whatever is made of the grapevine, from seed to skin. All the days of the vow of his separation, a razor does not come upon his head, until the days are completed for which he separates himself to Yahweh. He is Kodesh. He shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow long. All the days of his separation to Yahweh, he does not go near a dead body. He does not make himself unclean for his father, or for his mother, for his brother, or his sister when they die, because his separation to Elohim is on his head. All the days of his separation, he is Kodesh to Yahweh. And when anyone dies beside him in an instant, suddenly, and he has defiled the head of his separation, then he shall shave his head on the day of his cleansing. On the 7th day, he shaves it. And on the 8th day, he brings 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to the Cohen, to the door of the tent of appointment. And the Cohen shall prepare one as a sin offering, and the other as a burnt offering, and shall make atonement for him, because he sinned by reason of the dead body. And he shall kadosh his head on that day, and shall separate to Yahweh the days of his separation, and shall bring a male lamb a year old as a guilt offering. But the former days are not counted, because his separation was defiled. And this is the Torah of the Nazirite. When the days of his separation are completed, he is brought to the door of the tent of appointment. And he shall bring his offering to Yahweh, 1 male lamb a year old, a perfect one, as a burnt offering, and 1 ewe lamb a year old, a perfect one, as a sin offering, and 1 ram, a perfect one, as a peace offering. And a basket of unleavened bread, cakes of fine flour mixed with oil, and unleavened thin cakes anointed with oil, and their grain offering with their drink offerings. And the Cohen shall bring them before Yahweh, and prepare his sin offering and his burnt offering. And he shall prepare the ram as a peace offering to Yahweh, together with the basket of unleavened bread. And the Cohen shall prepare its grain offering and its drink offering. And the Nazirite shall shave the head of his separation at the door of the tent of appointment, and shall take the hair from the head of his separation, and shall put it on the fire, which is under the slaughtering of the peace offering. And the Cohen shall take the boiled shoulder of the ram, and 1 unleavened cake from the basket, and 1 unleavened thin cake, and put them upon the hands of the Nazirite after he has shaved his dedicated hair. Then the Cohen shall wave them, a wave offering before Yahweh. It is Kodesh for the Cohen, besides the breast of the wave offering, and besides the thigh of the contribution. And afterwards the Nazirite shall drink wine. This is the Torah of the Nazirite, who vows to Yahweh the offering for his separation. And besides that, whatever else his hand is able to provide, according to the vow which he takes, so he shall do according to the Torah of his separation.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, This is how you barak the children of Israel. Say to them, Yahweh barak you and guard you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahweh lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Thus they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I myself shall barak them.
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 7. And it came to be, when Moshe finished putting up the Mishkan, that he anointed it and kadoshed it, and all its furnishings, as well as the altar and all its utensils. Thus he anointed them and kadoshed them. And the leaders of Yisrael, heads of their fathers' houses, who were the leaders of the tribes, and over the ones registered, drew near. And they brought their offering before Yahweh, 6 covered wagons and 12 cattle, a wagon for every 2 of the leaders, and for each one a bull. And they brought them near before the Mishkan. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Accept from them, and they shall be used in doing the service of the tent of appointment. And you shall give them to the Levites, each one according to his service.
And Moshe took the wagons and the cattle, and gave them to the Levites. He gave 2 wagons and 4 cattle to the sons of Gershon, according to their service. And he gave 4 wagons and 8 cattle to the sons of Merari, according to their service, under the hand of Ithamar, son of Aharon the Cohen. But to the sons of Kahath he gave none, because theirs was the service of the Kodesh objects, which they bore on their shoulders. And the leaders brought the dedication of the altar in the day it was anointed. So the leaders brought their offering before the altar. And Yahweh said to Moshe,
Let them bring their offering, 1 leader each day, for the dedication of the altar.
And the one who brought his offering on the first day was Nachshon, son of Aminadab, from the tribe of Yehudah. And his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of 10, filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Nachshon, son of Aminadab. On the second day, Nathanael, son of Suar, leader of Yisachar, brought near. He brought his offering, 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of 10, filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Nathanael, son of Suar. On the third day, Eliab, son of Helon, leader of the children of Zebulun, his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of 10, filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Eliab, son of Helon. On the fourth day, Elitzur, son of Shedeur, leader of the children of Reuven, his offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil, as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of 10, filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Elitzur, son of Shedeur. On the fifth day, Shelumiel, son of Surishadai, leader of the children of Shimon, His offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour, mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin, filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Shelumiel, son of Tsurishadai. On the 6th day, Eliasaph, son of Deuel, leader of the children of Gad. His offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin, filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Eliasaph, son of Deuel. On the 7th day, Elishama, son of Ammihud, leader of the children of Ephraim. His offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour, mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin, filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Elishama, son of Ammihud. On the 8th day, Gamleel, son of Pedahzur, leader of the children of Manasseh. His offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Gamliel, son of Pedahzur. On the 9th day, Avidan, son of Gidoni, leader of the children of Binyamin. His offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour, mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin, filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Avidan, son of Gidoni. On the 10th day, Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai, leader of the children of Dan. His offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old, as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai. On the 11th day, Pariel, son of Ochran, leader of the children of Asher. His offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour, mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of tin filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Pariel, son of Ochran. On the 12th day, Ahirah, son of Enan, leader of the children of Naphtali. His offering was 1 silver dish, the weight of which was 130, 1 silver bowl of 70 shekels, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, both of them filled with fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, 1 gold ladle of 10 filled with incense, 1 young bull, 1 ram, 1 male lamb a year old as a burnt offering, 1 male goat as a sin offering, and as a peace offering, 2 cattle, 5 rams, 5 male goats, 5 male lambs a year old. This was the offering of Ahirah, son of Enan. This was the dedication of the altar from the leaders of Yisrael, when it was anointed. 12 silver dishes, 12 silver bowls, 12 gold ladles. Each silver dish was 130, and each bowl 70. All the silver of the vessels was 2,400, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place. The 12 gold ladles, filled with incense, was 10 each, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place. All the gold of the ladles was 120. All the cattle for the burnt offering were 12 young bulls, the rams 12, the male lambs a year old 12, with their grain offering, and the male goats as a sin offering 12. And all the cattle for the peace offerings were 24 bulls, the rams 60, the male goats 60, the lambs a year old 60. This was the dedication of the altar after it was anointed. And when Moshe went into the tent of appointment to speak with him, he heard the voice of one speaking to him from above the lid of atonement that was on the ark of the witness, from between the 2 cherubim. Thus he spoke to him. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 8. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to Aharon and say to him, When you put up the lamps, let the 7 lamps give light in front of the lampstand.
And Aharon did so. He put up the lamps to face toward the front of the lampstand, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And this is the work of the lampstand, beaten work of gold. From its base to its blossoms, it is beaten work, according to the pattern which Yahweh had shown Moshe. So he made the lampstand. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Take the Levites from among the children of Israel, and you shall cleanse them, and do this to them to cleanse them. Sprinkle water of sin offering on them, and they shall shave all their body, and shall wash their garments and cleanse themselves. And shall take a young bull with its grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, while you take another young bull as a sin offering. And you shall bring the Levites before the tent of appointment, and you shall assemble all the congregation of the children of Israel. And you shall bring the Levites before Yahweh. And the children of Israel shall lay their hands on the Levites, and Aharon shall wave the Levites before Yahweh, a wave offering from the children of Israel. So shall they be for doing the service of Yahweh. And the Levites shall lay their hands on the heads of the young bulls, and one shall be prepared as a sin offering, and the other as a burnt offering to Yahweh, to make atonement for the Levites. And you shall have the Levites stand before Aharon and his sons, and then wave them a wave offering to Yahweh. Thus you shall separate the Levites from among the children of Israel, and the Levites shall be mine. Then after that, the Levites shall go in to do service in the tent of appointment, when you have cleansed them and waved them as a wave offering. For they are given ones, given to me from among the children of Israel. I have taken them for myself, instead of all who open the womb, the firstborn of all the children of Israel. For all the firstborn among the children of Israel are mine, both man and beast. On the day that I smote all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, I kadosh them unto myself. And I have taken the Levites instead of all the firstborn of the children of Israel. And I have given the Levites as a gift to Aharon and his sons from among the children of Israel, to do the service of the children of Israel in the tent of appointment, and to make atonement for the children of Israel, that there be no plague among the children of Israel when the children of Israel come near the Kodesh place.
Thus Moshe and Aharon and all the congregation of the children of Israel did to the Levites, according to all that Yahweh commanded Moshe concerning the Levites. So the children of Israel did to them. And the Levites cleansed themselves and washed their garments, and Aharon waved them a wave offering before Yahweh. And Aharon made atonement for them to cleanse them. Then after that, the Levites went in to do their service in the tent of appointment before Aharon and his sons, as Yahweh commanded Moshe concerning the Levites, so they did to them. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
This applies to the Levites. From 25 years old and above, let him come into active service in the service of the tent of appointment. And at the age of 50 years, they retire from active service of the service and serve no more. But they shall attend with their brothers in the tent of appointment to guard the duty, but shall do no service. Thus you shall do to the Levites regarding their duties.
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 9. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai, in the first month of the second year after they had come out of the land of Mitzrayim, saying,
Now let the children of Israel perform the Pesach at its appointed time. On the 14th day of this month, between the evenings, perform it at its appointed time, according to all its laws and right rulings, you perform it.
And Moshe spoke to the children of Israel to perform the Pesach. So they performed the Pesach on the 14th day of the first month, between the evenings, in the wilderness of Sinai, according to all that Yahweh commanded Moshe, so the children of Israel did. But there were men who were defiled for a being of a man, so that they were not able to perform the Pesach on that day. So they came before Moshe and Aharon that day, and those men said to him,
We are defiled for the being of a man.
Why are we withheld from bringing near the offering of Yahweh at its appointed time among the children of Israel?
And Moshe said to them,
Wait, let me hear what Yahweh commands concerning you.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, saying, When any male of you or your generations is unclean for a being, or is far away on a journey, he shall still perform the Pesach of Yahweh. On the 14th day of the second month, between the evenings they perform it. With unleavened bread and bitter herbs they eat it. They do not leave of it until morning, and they do not break a bone of it. According to all the laws of the Pesach, they perform it. But the man who is clean and is not on a journey and has failed to perform the Pesach, that same being shall be cut off from among his people, because he did not bring the offering of Yahweh at its appointed time. That man bears his sin. And when a stranger sojourns among you, then he shall perform the Pesach of Yahweh. He shall do so according to the law of the Pesach and according to its right ruling. You have one law, both for the stranger and the native of the land.
And on the day that the Mishkan was raised up, the cloud covered the Mishkan, the tent of the witness. From evening until morning it was above the Mishkan, like the appearance of fire. Thus it was continually. The cloud covered it by day, and the appearance of fire by night. And whenever the cloud was taken up from above the tent, after that the children of Israel would depart. And in the place where the cloud dwelt, there the children of Israel would camp. At the command of Yahweh, the children of Israel departed, and at the command of Yahweh they camped. They remained camped as long as the cloud dwelt above the Mishkan. Even when the cloud lingered many days above the Mishkan, the children of Israel guarded the charge of Yahweh and did not depart. And so it was, when the cloud was above the Mishkan a few days, according to the command of Yahweh, they camped. And according to the command of Yahweh, they would depart. And so it was, when the cloud dwelt only from evening until morning, when the cloud was taken up in the morning, then they departed, whether by day or by night. Whenever the cloud was taken up, they departed, whether 2 days or a month, or a year that the cloud lingered above the Mishkan to dwell upon it, the children of Israel camped and did not depart. But when it was taken up, they departed. At the command of Yahweh they camped, and at the command of Yahweh they departed. They guarded the charge of Yahweh at the command of Yahweh by the hand of Moshe. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 10. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Make 2 silver trumpets for yourself. Make them of beaten work. And you shall use them for calling the congregation and for breaking camp. And when they blow both of them, all the congregation shall meet before you at the door of the tent of appointment. And if they blow one, then the leaders, the heads of the thousands of Israel, shall gather to you. And when you blow a shout, the camps that lie on the east side shall depart. And when you blow a shout the second time, the camps that lie on the south side shall depart. They blow a shout for them to depart. And when the assembly is to be assembled, you blow, but do not shout. And the sons of Aharon, the Kohanim, blow with the trumpets. And it shall be to you for a law forever throughout your generations. And when you go into battle in your land against the enemy that distresses you, then you shall shout with the trumpets, and you shall be remembered before Yahweh, your Elohim, and you shall be saved from your enemies. And in the day of your gladness, and in your appointed times, and at the beginning of your months, you shall blow the trumpets over your burnt offerings and over your peace offerings. And they shall be a remembrance for you before your Elohim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim.
And it came to be on the 20th day of the second month, in the second year, that the cloud was taken up from above the Mishkan of the witness. And the children of Israel departed, journeying from the wilderness of Sinai. And the cloud dwelt in the wilderness of Paran. Thus they departed the first time, according to the command of Yahweh, by the hand of Moshe. And the banner of the camp of the children of Yehudah departed first, according to their divisions. And over their army was Nachshon, son of Aminadab. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Yisachar was Nathanael, son of Tzuar. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Zebulun was Eliab, son of Chelon. And the Mishkan was taken down, and the sons of Gerashon and the sons of Merari departed, bearing the Mishkan. And the banner of the camp of Reuven departed, according to their divisions. And over their army was Elitzur, son of Shedeur. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Shimon was Shalumiel, son of Tsurishadai. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Gad was Eliasaph, the son of Deuel. And the Kehathites departed, bearing the Mikdash, while the Mishkan was put up before they came. And the banner of the camp of the children of Ephraim departed, according to their divisions. And over their army was Elishama, son of Ammihud. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Manasseh was Gamliel, son of Pedahzur. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Benjamin was Abidan, son of Gideoni. Then the banner of the camp of the children of Dan, which formed the rear guard of all the camps, departed according to their divisions. And over their army was Ahiezer, son of Ammishaddai. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Asher was Pagiel, the son of Ochran. And over the army of the tribe of the children of Naphtali was Ahira, the son of Enan. Such was the order of departure of the children of Israel, according to their divisions, when they departed. And Moshe said to Chovav, the son of Reuel, the Midianite, Moshe's father-in-law,
We are departing for the place of which Yahweh said, I give it to you. Come with us, and we shall do good to you. For Yahweh has spoken good concerning Yisrael.
And he replied to him,
I am not going, but I am going to my own land and to my relatives.
Then he said,
Please do not leave us, because you know how we are to camp in the wilderness, and you shall be our eyes. And it shall be, when you go with us, then it shall be that whatever good Yahweh does to us, the same we shall do to you.
So they departed from the mountain of Yahweh on a journey of 3 days. And the ark of the covenant of Yahweh went before them for 3 days' journey, to seek out a resting place for them. And the cloud of Yahweh was above them by day, when they went out from the camp. And it came to be, whenever the ark departed, that Moshe said,
Rise up, O Yahweh, and let your enemies be scattered, and let those who hate you flee before you.
And when it rested, he said,
Return, O Yahweh, to the countless thousands of Yisrael.
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 11. And it came to be, when the people were as complainers, it was evil in the ears of Yahweh. And Yahweh heard it, and his displeasure burned. And the fire of Yahweh burned among them, and consumed those in the outskirts of the camp. And the people cried out to Moshe, and Moshe prayed to Yahweh, and the fire died down. Then he called the name of the place Tav-erah, because the fire of Yahweh had burned among them. And the mixed multitude who were in their midst lusted greatly. So the children of Israel also wept again and said,
Who is giving us meat to eat?
We remember the fish which we ate without cost in Mitzrayim, the cucumbers and the melons, and the leeks, and the onions, and the garlic.
But now our life is dried up. There is naught to look at but this manna.
Now the manna was like coriander seed, and its appearance like the appearance of bdellium. The people went about and gathered it, ground it on millstones, or beat it in the mortar, and cooked it in a pot, and made cakes of it. And its taste was as the taste of cakes baked with oil. And when the dew fell on the camp at night, the manna fell on it. And Moshe heard the people weeping throughout their clans, each man at the door of his tent. And the displeasure of Yahweh burned exceedingly, and in the eyes of Moshe it was evil. So Moshe said to Yahweh,
Why have you done evil to your servant? And why have I not found favor in your eyes to put the burden of all these people on me? Was it I who conceived all these people? Was it I who brought them forth, that you should say to me, Carry them in your bosom, as the foster father carries a nursing child, to the land which you swore to their fathers? Where am I to get meat to give to all these people? For they weep before me, saying, Give us meat to eat. I am unable to bear all these people alone, because the burden is too heavy for me. And if you are doing this to me, please slay me altogether if I have found favor in your eyes, and let me not see my evil.
Then Yahweh said to Moshe,
Gather to me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom you know to be the elders of the people and officers over them, and bring them to the tent of appointment, and let them stand there with you. And I shall come down and speak with you there, and shall take of the Ruach that is on you, and put on them. And they shall bear the burden of the people with you, so that you do not bear it yourself alone. And say to the people, Kadosh yourselves for tomorrow, and you shall eat meat, because you have wept in the hearing of Yahweh, saying, Who is giving us meat to eat? For it was well with us in Mitzrayim. And Yahweh shall give you meat, and you shall eat. You are going to eat, not 1 day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, nor 10 days, nor 20 days, but for a month of days, until it comes out of your nostrils, and becomes an abomination to you, because you have rejected Yahweh, who is among you, and have wept before him, saying, Why did we come up out of Mitzrayim?
And Moshe said,
The people in whose midst I am are 600,000 men on foot, and you have said, I give them meat to eat for a month of days. Could flocks and herds be slaughtered for them to be sufficient for them? Or could all the fish of the sea be gathered together for them to be sufficient for them?
And Yahweh said to Moshe,
Is the arm of Yahweh too short? Now see whether my word meets you or not.
And Moshe went out and spoke to the people the words of Yahweh. And he gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people, and stood them around the tent. And Yahweh came down in the cloud and spoke to him, and took of the Ruach that was upon him, and placed the same upon the 70 elders. And it came to be, when the Ruach rested upon them, that they navu, but did not continue. However, 2 men had remained in the camp. The name of the one was Eldad, and the name of the other Medad. And the Ruach rested upon them. Now they were among those listed, but did not go out to the tent. And they navu in the camp. And a young man ran and informed Moshe and said,
Eldad and Medad, Navah in the camp.
And Yahshua, son of Nun, Moshe's assistant from his youth, answered and said,
Moshe, my master, forbid them.
Then Moshe said to him,
Are you jealous for my sake? Oh, that all the people of Yahweh were Nevi'im, that Yahweh would put his Ruach upon them.
And Moshe returned to the camp, both he and the elders of Yisrael. And a wind went forth from Yahweh, and it brought quail from the sea, and let them fall beside the camp, about a day's journey on this side, and about a day's journey on the other side, all around the camp, and about 2 amah above the surface of the ground. And the people were up all that day and all that night, and all the next day, and gathered the quail. He who had least gathered 10 homers, and they spread them out for themselves all around the camp. The meat was still between their teeth before it was chewed, and the wrath of Yahweh burned against the people. And Yahweh smote the people with an exceeding great plague. Then he called the name of that place Kivroth Hatahoah, because there they buried the people who lusted. From Kivroth Hatahoah, the people departed for Chatzeroth, and they were at Chatzeroth. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 12. Now Miriam and Aharon spoke against Moshe, because of the Cushite wife whom he had taken, for he had taken a Cushite wife. And they said,
Has Yahweh spoken only through Moshe? Has he not also spoken through us?
And Yahweh heard it. And the man Moshe was very humble, more than all the men who were on the face of the earth. And suddenly Yahweh said to Moshe and Aharon and Miriam,
You three, come out to the tent of appointment.
So the three came out. And Yahweh came down in the column of cloud and stood in the door of the tent and called Aharon and Miriam. And they both went forward. And he said,
Hear now my words. If your Navi is of Yahweh, I make myself known to him in a vision, and I speak to him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moshe. He is trustworthy in all my house. I speak with him mouth to mouth, and plainly, and not in riddles. And he sees the form of Yahweh. So why were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moshe?
And the displeasure of Yahweh burned against them, and he left. And the cloud turned away from above the tent, and look, Miriam was leprous as white as snow. And Aharon turned toward Miriam, and look, a leper. And Aharon said to Moshe,
O my master, please do not hold against us the sin in which we have done foolishly, and in which we have sinned. Please do not let her be as one dead, when coming out of its mother's womb with our flesh have consumed.
And Moshe cried out to Yahweh, saying,
Oh, El, please heal her, please.
And Yahweh said to Moshe,
If her father had but spit in her face, would she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp 7 days, and after that, let her be readmitted.
And Miriam was shut out of the camp 7 days, and the people did not depart until Miriam was readmitted. And afterward the people departed from Chatzeroth, and they camped in the wilderness of Paran. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 13. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the children of Israel. Send 1 man from each tribe of their fathers, every one a leader among them.
And by the command of Yahweh, Moshe sent them from the wilderness of Paran, all of them men who were heads of the children of Israel. And these were their names: from the tribe of Reuven, Shemuah, son of Zakur; from the tribe of Shimon, Shaphat, son of Chori; from the tribe of Yehudah, Kalev, son of Yephuneh; from the tribe of Yisachar, Yigal, son of Yosef; from the tribe of Ephraim, Hoshea, son of Nun; from the tribe of Benjamin, Palti, son of Raphu; from the tribe of Zebulun, Gadiel, son of Sodi; from the tribe of Yosef; from the tribe of Manasseh, Gadi, son of Susi; from the tribe of Dan, Amiel, son of Gemali; from the tribe of Asher, Shethur, son of Michael; from the tribe of Naphtali, Nachvi, son of Wolfsi; from the tribe of Gad, Geuel, son of Machi. These are the names of the men whom Moshe sent to spy out the land. And Moshe called Hoshea, the son of Nun, Yahshua. And Moshe sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said to them,
Go up here into the Negev, and go up to the mountains, and see what the land is like, and the people who dwell in it, whether strong or weak, whether few or many, and whether the land they dwell in is good or evil, whether the cities they inhabit are in camps or strongholds, and whether the land is rich or poor, and whether there are forests there or not. And you shall be strong, and bring some of the fruit of the land.
Now the time was the season of the first fruits of grapes. So they went up and spied out the land from the wilderness of Tzin as far as Rehov, near the entrance of Hamath. And they went up through the Negev and came to Hebron. And Ahimon, Sheshai, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak, were there. Now Hebron had been built 7 years before Zoan in Mitzrayim. And they came to the Wadi Eshkol and cut down from there a branch with one cluster of grapes. And they bore it between two of them on a pole, also of the pomegranates and of the figs. That place was called the Wadi of Eshkol because of the cluster the men of Yisrael cut down from there. And they returned from spying out the land after 40 days. And they went and came to Moshe and Aharon and all the congregation of the children of Yisrael in the wilderness of Paran at Kadesh. And they brought back word to them and to all the congregation and showed them the fruit of the land. And they reported to him and said,
We went to the land where you sent us, and truly, it flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruit.
But the people who dwell in the land are strong, and the cities are walled very great.
And we saw the descendants of Anak there too. And the Amalekites dwell in the land of the Negev, while the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the banks of the Yarden.
And Caleb silenced the people before Moshe and said,
Let us go up at once, take possession, for we are certainly able to overcome it.
But the men who had gone up with him said,
We are not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we.
And they gave the children of Israel an evil report of the land which they had spied out, saying,
The land through which we have gone as spies is a land eating up its inhabitants. And all the people whom we saw in it are men of great size.
And we saw there the Nephilim, sons of Anak, of the Nephilim.
And we were like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so we were in their eyes.
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 14. Then all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Yisrael grumbled against Moshe and against Aharon. And all the congregation said to them,
If only we had died in the land of Mitzrayim, or if only we had died in this wilderness.
And why is Yahweh bringing us to this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and children should become a prey?
Would it not be better for us to turn back to Mitzrayim?
And they said to each other,
Let us appoint a leader, and let us turn back to Mitzrayim.
Then Moshe and Aharon fell on their faces before all the assembly of the congregation of the children of Yisrael. And Yahshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had spied out the land, tore their garments. And they spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying,
The land we passed through to spy out is an exceedingly good land.
If Yahweh has delighted in us, then he shall bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which is flowing with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against Yahweh, nor fear the people of the land, for they are our bread. Their defense has turned away from them, and Yahweh is with us.
Do not fear them.
But all the congregation said to stone them with stones. Then the esteem of Yahweh appeared in the tent of appointment before all the children of Israel. And Yahweh said to Moshe,
How long shall I be scorned by these people? And how long shall I not be trusted by them, with all the signs which I have done in their midst? Let me smite them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and make of you a nation greater and mightier than they.
And Moshe said to Yahweh,
Then the Mitzrites shall hear it, for by your power you brought these people up from their midst. And they shall say to the inhabitants of this land, they have heard that you, Yahweh, are in the midst of these people, that you, Yahweh, are seen eye to eye, and that your cloud stands above them, and you go before them in a column of cloud by day, and in a column of fire by night. Now if you shall kill these people as one man, then the nations which have heard of your report shall speak, saying, because Yahweh was not able to bring this people to the land which he swore to give them, therefore he killed them in the wilderness. And now I pray, let the power of Yahweh be great, as you have spoken, saying, Yahweh is patient and of great kindness, forgiving wickedness and transgression, but by no means leaving unpunished, visiting the wickedness of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generation. Please forgive the wickedness of this people, according to the greatness of your kindness, as you have forgiven this people from Mitzrayim even until now.
And Yahweh said,
I shall forgive, according to your word, but truly, as I live, and all the earth is filled with the esteem of Yahweh. For none of these men who have seen my esteem, and the signs which I did in Mitzrayim, and in the wilderness, and have tried me now these 10 times, and have disobeyed my voice, shall see the land of which I swore to their fathers, nor any of those who scorned me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit in him, and has followed me completely, I shall bring into the land where he went, and his seed shall inherit it. Since the Amalekites and the Canaanites are dwelling in the valley, turn back tomorrow and depart into the wilderness by the way of the Sea of Reeds.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying,
How long shall this evil congregation have this grumbling against me? I have heard the grumblings which the children of Israel are grumbling against me. Say to them, as I live, declares Yahweh, as you have spoken in my hearing, so I do to you. The carcasses of you who have grumbled against me are going to fall in this wilderness, all of you who were registered, according to your entire number, from 20 years old and above. None of you except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun, shall enter the land which I swore I would make you dwell in. But your little ones, whom you said would become a prey, I shall bring in, and they shall know the land which you have rejected. But as for you, your carcasses are going to fall in this wilderness, and your sons shall be wanderers in the wilderness 40 years, and shall bear your whorings until your carcasses are consumed in the wilderness. According to the number of the days in which you spied out the land, 40 days, a day for a year, a day for a year. You are to bear your wickedness 40 years, and you shall know my breaking off. I am Yahweh. I have spoken. I shall do this to all this evil congregation who are meeting against me. In this wilderness they are consumed, and there they die.
And the men whom Moshe sent to spy out the land, who returned and made all the congregation grumble against him by bringing an evil report of the land, even those men who brought the evil report about the land died by the plague before Yahweh. Of those men who went to spy out the land, only Yahshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh remained alive. And when Moshe spoke these words to all the congregation of Israel, the people mourned greatly. And they rose up early in the morning and went up to the top of the mountain, saying,
See, we have indeed sinned, but we shall go up to the place which Yahweh had spoken of.
But Moshe said,
Why do you now transgress the command of Yahweh, since it does not prosper? Do not go up, lest you be smitten by your enemies, for Yahweh is not in your midst. Because the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and you shall fall by the sword, because you have turned away from Yahweh. Yahweh is not with you.
But they presumed to go up to the mountaintop. But neither the ark of the covenant of Yahweh nor Moshe left the camp. So the Amalekites and the Canaanites who dwelt on that mountain came down and smote them and beat them down even to Hormah. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 15. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you have come into the land of your dwellings, which I am giving you, and you make an offering by fire to Yahweh, a burnt offering or a slaughtering, to accomplish a vow, or as a voluntary offering, or in your appointed times, to make a sweet fragrance to Yahweh from the herd or the flock, then he who brings near his offering to Yahweh shall bring near a grain offering of 1/10 part of fine flour, mixed with 1/4 of a hin of oil and 1/4 of a hin of wine. As a drink offering, you prepare with the burnt offering or the slaughtering for each lamb. Or for a ram, you prepare as a grain offering 2/10 parts of fine flour, mixed with 1/3 of a hin of oil, and as a drink offering, you bring 1/3 of a hin of wine as a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. And when you prepare a young bull as a burnt offering, or as a slaughtering to accomplish a vow, or as a peace offering to Yahweh, then shall be brought with the young bull a grain offering of 3/10 parts of fine flour mixed with a half a hin of oil, and bring as the drink offering half a hin of wine as an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. This is what is done for each young bull, for each ram, or for each lamb or young goat, according to the number that you prepare. So you do for each one according to their number. Let all who are native do so with them, in bringing near an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. And when a stranger sojourns with you, or whoever is among you throughout your generations, and would make an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh, as you do, so he does. One law is for you of the assembly and for the stranger who sojourns with you, a law forever throughout your generations. As you are, so is the stranger before Yahweh. One Torah and one right ruling is for you and for the stranger who sojourns with you.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you come into the land to which I bring you, then it shall be, when you eat of the bread of the land, that you present a contribution to Yahweh. Present a cake of the first of your dough as a contribution. As a contribution of the threshing floor, you present it. Of the first of your dough, you are to give to Yahweh a contribution throughout your generations. And when you sin by mistake, and do not do all these commands which Yahweh has spoken to Moshe, all that Yahweh has commanded you by the hand of Moshe, from the day Yahweh gave command and onward throughout your generations, then it shall be, if it is done by mistake without the knowledge of the congregation, that all the congregation shall prepare one young bull as a burnt offering, as a sweet fragrance to Yahweh, with its grain offering and its drink offering, according to the right ruling, and one male goat as a sin offering. Then the Cohen shall make atonement for all the congregation of the children of Israel, and it shall be forgiven them, for it was by mistake. And they shall bring their offering, an offering made by fire to Yahweh, and their sin offering before Yahweh for their mistake. And it shall be forgiven all the congregation of the children of Israel, and the stranger who sojourns in their midst, because all the people did it by mistake. And if a being sins by mistake, then he shall bring a female goat, a year old, as a sin offering. And the Cohen shall make atonement for the being who strays by mistake when he sins by mistake before Yahweh, to make atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. For him who makes a mistake, there is one Torah, both for him who is native among the children of Israel, and for the stranger who sojourns in their midst. But the being who acts defiantly, whether he is native or a stranger, he reviles Yahweh, and that being shall be cut off from among his people, because he has despised the word of Yahweh, and has broken his command. That being shall certainly be cut off. His wickedness is upon him.
And while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering sticks on the Shabbat day. And those who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moshe and to Aharon and to all the congregation. And they put him in under guard, because it had not been declared what should be done to him. And Yahweh said to Moshe,
The man shall certainly be put to death, all the congregation stoning him with stones outside the camp.
And all the congregation brought him outside the camp and stoned him with stones, as Yahweh commanded Moshe, and he died. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, and you shall say to them to make tzitzit on the corners of their garments throughout their generations, and to put a blue cord in the tzitzit of the corners, and it shall be to you for a tzitzit, and you shall see it, and shall remember all the commands of Yahweh, and shall do them, and not search after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you went whoring, so that you remember, and shall do all my commands, and be Kodesh unto your Elohim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim to be your Elohim. I am Yahweh, your Elohim.
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 16. And Korach, son of Yitzhar, son of Kahath, son of Lewi, took both Dathan and Aviram, the sons of Eliav, and On, son of Peleth, sons of Reuven, and they rose up before Moshe with some of the children of Israel, 250 leaders of the congregation, called ones of the meeting, men of name. And they assembled against Moshe and against Aharon, and said to them,
Enough of you, for all the congregation is Kodesh, all of them, and Yahweh is in their midst. Why then do you lift up yourselves above the assembly of Yahweh?
And when Moshe heard, he fell on his face, and spoke to Korach and all his company, saying,
Tomorrow morning Yahweh shall make known who is his and who is Kodesh, and come near to him, and let him bring near to him the one whom he chooses. Do this: take fire holders, Korach and all your company, and put fire in them, and put incense in them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the one whom Yahweh chooses is the Kadosh one. Enough of you, sons of Lewi.
And Moshe said to Korach,
Hear now, you sons of Lewi. Is it little to you that the Elohim of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to perform the service of the Mishkan of Yahweh, and to stand before the congregation to serve them, and that he has brought you near to himself, you and all your brothers, the sons of Lewi, with you? Yet you seek the Kehunah as well? Therefore, you and all your company are assembled against Yahweh. And Aharon, what is he that you grumble against him?
And Moshe sent to call Dathan and Aviram, the sons of Eliav. But they said,
We are not coming up. Is it little that you have brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness? That you would also seize total rule over us? Also, you have not brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Would you bore out the eyes of these men? We are not coming up.
And Moshe became very displeased and said to Yahweh,
Do not respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, nor have I done harm to any of them.
Then Moshe said to Korah,
Tomorrow, you and all your company shall be there before Yahweh, you and they and Aharon. And take each one his fire holder, and you shall put incense in it, and let each one bring his fire holder before Yahweh. 250 fire holders, and you and Aharon, each one with his fire holder.
So each one took his fire holder and put fire in it, and laid incense on it, and stood at the door of the tent of appointment with Moshe and Aharon. And Korah assembled all the congregation against them at the door of the tent of appointment. Then the esteem of Yahweh appeared to all the congregation. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying,
Separate yourselves from the midst of this congregation, and let me consume them in a moment.
But they fell on their faces and said,
O El, Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, when one man sins, are you wroth with all the congregation?
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to the congregation, saying, Move away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Aviram.
So Moshe rose up and went to Dathan and Aviram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke to the congregation, saying,
Please turn away from the tents of these wicked men. Do not touch whatever belongs to them, lest you be consumed in all their sins.
Then they moved away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Aviram. And Dathan and Aviram came out and stood at the door of their tents, with their wives and their sons and their little children. And Moshe said,
By this you know that Yahweh has sent me to do all these works, not because of my own heart. If these die as all men do, or if they are visited as all men are visited, then Yahweh has not sent me. But if Yahweh creates what is unheard of, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into the grave, then you shall know that these men have scorned Yahweh.
And it came to be, as he ended speaking all these words, that the ground under them split apart, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, with their households and all the men with Korah, with all their goods. So they and all those with them went down alive into the grave, and the earth closed over them, and they perished from the midst of the assembly. And all Yisrael who were round about them fled at their cry, for they said,
Lest the earth swallow us up.
And a fire came out from Yahweh and consumed the 250 men who were offering incense. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Say to Eleazar, son of Aharon the Cohen, to pick up the fire holders out of the blaze, for they are Kodesh, and scatter the fires some distance away. The fire holders of these men who sinned against their own lives, let them be made into beaten plates as a covering for the altar, because they brought them before Yahweh. Therefore they are Kodesh, and let them become a sign to the children of Israel.
And Eleazar the Cohen took the bronze fire holders, which those who were burned up had brought, and they were beaten out as a covering on the altar, a remembrance to the children of Israel, that no stranger who is not of the seed of Aharon should come near to offer incense before Yahweh, and not be like Korah and his company, as Yahweh had said to him through Moshe. But all the congregation of the children of Israel grumbled against Moshe and against Aharon on the next day, saying,
You have killed the people of Yahweh.
And it came to be, when the congregation assembled against Moshe and against Aharon, that they turned toward the tent of appointment. And see, the cloud covered it, and the esteem of Yahweh appeared. And Moshe and Aharon came before the tent of appointment. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Arise from amidst this congregation, and let me consume them in a moment.
And they fell on their faces. So Moshe said to Aharon,
Take the fire holder and put fire in it from the altar, and lay incense on, and go, hurry to the congregation and make atonement for them. For wrath has gone out from Yahweh. The plague has begun.
And Aharon took it as Moshe commanded, and ran into the midst of the assembly, and saw that the plague had begun among the people. And he laid on the incense, and made atonement for the people, and stood between the dead and the living. And the plague was stopped. And those who died in the plague were 14,700, besides those who died on account of Korah. Then Aharon returned to Moshe at the door of the tent of appointment, for the plague had stopped. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 17. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, and take from them a rod from each father's house, all their leaders according to their father's houses, 12 rods. Write each one's name on his rod, and write Aharon's name on the rod of Lewi, for there is one rod for the head of each father's house. You shall then place them in the tent of appointment before the witness, where I meet with you. And it shall be that the rod of the man whom I choose buds, and I shall rid myself of the grumblings of the children of Israel, which they grumble against you.
And Moshe spoke to the children of Israel, and all their leaders gave him a rod each, for each leader according to their father's houses, 12 rods. And the rod of Aharon was among their rods. So Moshe placed the rods before Yahweh in the tent of the witness. And it came to be on the next day that Moshe went into the tent of the witness, and saw that the rod of Aharon of the house of Lewi had budded, and brought forth buds, and blossomed, and bore ripe almonds. And Moshe brought out all the rods from before Yahweh to all the children of Israel. And they looked, and each man took his rod. And Yahweh said to Moshe,
Bring Aharon's rod back before the witness, to be kept as a sign against the rebels, so that you put an end to their grumblings against me, lest they die.
And Moshe did as Yahweh commanded him. So he did. And the children of Israel spoke to Moshe, saying,
See, we shall die. We shall perish. We shall all perish. Anyone who comes near the Mishkan of Yahweh dies. Shall we be consumed to die?
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 18. And Yahweh said to Aharon,
You and your sons and your father's house with you are to bear the wickedness against the Mikdash, and you and your sons with you are to bear the wickedness against your Kehunah. But bring with you your brothers of the tribe of Lewi too, the tribe of your father, to join you and serve you, while you and your sons are with you before the tent of the witness. And they shall guard your charge and the duty of all the tent, but they do not come near the furnishings of the Kodesh place and the altar, lest they die, both they and you. And they shall be joined with you and guard the duty to the tent of appointment for all the service of the tent, but a stranger does not come near you. And you shall guard the duty of the Kodesh place and the duty of the altar, so that there be no more wrath on the children of Israel. And see, I myself have taken your brothers the Lewites from the midst of the children of Israel, a gift to you given by Yahweh to do the service of the tent of appointment. But you and your sons with you are to guard your Kehunah for all matters at the altar and behind the veil, and you shall serve. I have given you the Kehunah as a gift for service, but the stranger who comes near is put to death.
And Yahweh spoke to Aharon,
And see, I myself have also given you the charge of my contributions, all the Kodesh gifts of the children of Israel. I have given them to you for the anointing, and to your sons as a law forever. This is yours of the most Kodesh gifts from the fire. All their offerings, all their grain offerings, and all their sin offerings, and all their guilt offerings, which they render to me, are most Kodesh for you and your sons. Eat it in the most Kodesh place. Every male eats it. It is Kodesh to you. This also is yours, the contribution of their gift, with all the wave offerings of the children of Israel. I have given them to you and your sons and your daughters with you as a law forever. Everyone who is clean in your house eats it. All the best of the oil, and all the best of the new wine and the grain, their first fruits which they give to Yahweh, I have given them to you. The first fruits of all that is in their land, which they bring to Yahweh, are yours. Everyone who is clean in your house eats it. All that is dedicated in Israel is yours. Everyone opening a womb of all flesh, which they bring to Yahweh, whether man or beast, is yours. But the firstborn of man you shall certainly ransom, and the firstborn of the unclean beast you ransom. And ransom their ransomed ones when 1 month old, according to your valuation, 5 shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the Kodesh place, which is 20 gerahs. But the firstborn of a cow, or the firstborn of a sheep, or the firstborn of a goat, you do not ransom. They are Kodesh. Sprinkle their blood on the altar, and burn their fat as an offering made by fire for a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. And their flesh is yours, as the wave breast and as the right thigh, it is yours. All the contributions of the Kodesh gifts, which the children of Israel present to Yahweh, I have given to you and your sons and daughters with you as a law forever. It is a covenant of salt forever before Yahweh, with you and your seed with you.
And Yahweh said to Aharon,
You are not to have an inheritance in their land, nor have any portion in their midst. I am your portion and your inheritance among the children of Israel. And see, I have given the children of Lewi all the tithes in Israel as an inheritance in return for the service which they are serving, the service of the tent of appointment. And let the children of Israel no more come near the tent of appointment, lest they bear sin and die, because the Lewites shall do the service of the tent of appointment, so they themselves bear their wickedness, a law forever throughout your generations, that among the children of Israel they are to have no inheritance, but the tithes of the children of Israel, which they present as a contribution to Yahweh, I have given to the Lewites as an inheritance. That is why I have said to them, among the children of Israel they have no inheritance.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to the Lewites and say to them, When you take from the children of Israel the tithes which I have given you from them as your inheritance, then you shall present a contribution of it to Yahweh. 1/10 of the tithe. And your contribution shall be reckoned to you as grain from the threshing floor and as filling from the winepress. Thus you also present a contribution unto Yahweh from all your tithes which you receive from the children of Israel. And you shall give from it the contribution to Yahweh, to Aharon the Cohen. From all your gifts you present every contribution due to Yahweh, from all the best of them, the Kodesh part of them. And you shall say to them, when you have presented the best of it, then the rest shall be reckoned to the Levites as the yield of the threshing floor and as the yield of the winepress. And you shall eat it in any place, you and your households, for it is your reward for your service in the tent of appointment. And bear no sin because of it, when you have presented the best of it, and do not profane the Kodesh gifts of the children of Israel, lest you die.
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 19. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying,
This is a law of the Torah, which Yahweh has commanded, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, that they bring you a red heifer, a perfect one, in which there is no blemish, and on which a yoke has never come. And you shall give it to Eleazar the Cohen, and he shall bring it outside the camp, and shall slaughter it before him. And Eleazar the Cohen shall take some of its blood with his finger, and sprinkle some of its blood 7 times toward the front of the tent of appointment. And the heifer shall be burned before his eyes. He burns its hide, and its flesh, and its blood, and its dung. And the Cohen shall take cedar wood, and hyssop, and scarlet, and throw them into the midst of the fire, burning the heifer. The Cohen shall then wash his garments, and shall bathe his body in water, and afterward come into the camp. But the Cohen is unclean until evening. And he who is burning it washes his garments in water, and shall bathe his body in water, and is unclean until evening. And a clean man shall gather up the ashes of the heifer, and shall place them outside the camp in a clean place. And they shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel. For the water for uncleanness, it is for cleansing from sin. And he who gathers the ashes of the heifer shall wash his garments, and is unclean until evening. And it shall be a law forever to the children of Israel, and to the stranger who sojourns in their midst. He who touches the dead of any human being is unclean for 7 days. He is to cleanse himself with the water on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he is clean. But if he does not cleanse himself on the 3rd day, then on the 7th day he is not clean. Anyone who touches the dead of a human being and does not cleanse himself defiles the Mishkan of Yahweh, and that being shall be cut off from Israel. He is unclean, for the water for uncleanness was not sprinkled on him. His uncleanness is still upon him. This is the Torah. When a man dies in a tent, all who come into the tent and all who are in the tent are unclean for 7 days. And every open vessel which has no cover fastened on it is unclean. Anyone in the open field who touches someone slain by a sword, or who has died, or a bone of a man, or a grave, is unclean for 7 days. And for the unclean being they shall take some of the ashes of the heifer burnt for cleansing from sin, and running water shall be put on them in a vessel. And a clean man shall take hyssop, and dip it in the water, and shall sprinkle it on the tent, and on all the vessels, and on the beings who were there, or on the one who touched a bone, or the slain, or the dead, or a grave. And the clean one shall sprinkle the unclean on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day. And on the 7th day he shall cleanse himself, and shall wash his garments, and bathe in water, and shall be clean in the evening. But the man who is unclean and does not cleanse himself, that being shall be cut off from among the assembly, because he has defiled the Mikdash of Yahweh. Water for uncleanness has not been sprinkled on him, he is unclean. and it shall be a law for them forever. And the one who sprinkles the water for uncleanness washes his garments, and the one who touches the water for uncleanness is unclean until evening. And whatever the unclean being touches is unclean, and the being who touches it is unclean until evening.
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 20. And the children of Yisrael, all the congregation, came into the wilderness of Tzin in the first month. And the people stayed in Kadesh. And Miriam died there and was buried there. Now there was no water for the congregation, and they assembled against Moshe and against Aharon. And the people contended with Moshe and spoke, saying,
If only we had died when our brothers died before Yahweh.
Why have you brought up the assembly of Yahweh into this wilderness, that we and our livestock should die here?
And why have you brought us up out of Mitzrayim? To bring us to this evil place?
Not a place of grain, or figs, or vines, or pomegranates.
And there is no water to drink.
Then Moshe and Aharon went from the presence of the assembly to the door of the tent of appointment, and they fell on their faces. And the esteem of Yahweh appeared to them. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Take the rod and assemble the congregation, you and your brother Aharon, and you shall speak to the rock before their eyes, and it shall give its water. And you shall bring water for them out of the rock, and give drink to the congregation and their livestock.
And Moshe took the rod from before Yahweh, as he commanded him. And Moshe and Aharon assembled the assembly before the rock. And he said to them,
Hear now, you rebels! Shall we bring water for you out of this rock?
Then Moshe lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod. And much water came out, and the congregation and their livestock drank. But Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon,
Because you did not believe me, to kadosh me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you do not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them.
These were the waters of Meribah, because the children of Israel contended with Yahweh, and he was kadosh among them. And Moshe sent messengers from Kadesh to the sovereign of Edom.
This is what your brother Yisrael said. You know all the hardship that has befallen us, that our fathers went down to Mitzrayim, and we dwelt in Mitzrayim a long time, and the Mitzrites did evil to us and our fathers. And we cried out to Yahweh, and he heard our voice and sent the messenger and brought us up out of Mitzrayim. And see, we are in Kadesh, a city on the edge of your border. Please let us pass over through your land. We shall not pass over through fields or vineyards, nor drink water from wells. We shall go along the sovereign's highway. We shall not turn aside, right or left, until we have passed over your border.
But Edom said to him,
You do not pass over through me, lest I come out against you with the sword.
And the children of Israel said to him,
We shall go by the highway.
And if I or my livestock drink any of your water, then I shall pay for it.
Let me only pass over on foot, without a word.
But he said,
You do not pass over.
And Edom came out against them with many men and with a strong hand. So when Edom refused to let Yisrael pass over through his border, Yisrael turned away from him. And the children of Yisrael, all the company, departed from Kadesh and came to Mount Hor. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aharon in Mount Hor, near the border of the land of Edom, saying,
Aharon is to be gathered to his people, for he is not to enter the land which I have given to the children of Israel, because you rebelled against my mouth at the water of Meribah. Take Aharon and Eleazar his son, and bring them up to Mount Hor, and strip Aharon of his garments, and put them on Eleazar his son. For Aharon is to be gathered to his people, and die there.
And Moshe did as Yahweh commanded. And they went up to Mount Hor before the eyes of all the congregation. And Moshe stripped Aharon of his garments, and put them on Eleazar his son. And Aharon died there on top of the mountain. And Moshe and Eleazar came down from the mountain. And when all the congregation saw that Aharon was dead, all the house of Israel wept for Aharon 30 days. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 21. And the sovereign of Arad, the Canaanite, who dwelt in the Negev, heard that Yisrael was coming on the way to Atharim, and he fought against Yisrael, and took some of them captive. Then Yisrael made a vow to Yahweh, and said,
If you deliver this people into my hand indeed, then I shall put their cities under the ban.
And Yahweh listened to the voice of Yisrael, and gave up the Canaanites. And they put them and their cities under the ban. So the name of that place was called Hormah. And they departed from Mount Hor by the way of the Sea of Reeds, to go around the land of Edom. But the being of the people grew impatient because of the way. And the people spoke against Elohim and against Moshe.
Why have you brought us up out of Mizraim to die in the wilderness? For there is no food and no water, and our being loathes this light bread.
And Yahweh sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and many of the people of Israel died. Then the people came to Moshe and said,
We have sinned, for we have spoken against Yahweh and against you. Pray to Yahweh to take away the serpents from us.
So Moshe prayed on behalf of the people. And Yahweh said to Moshe,
Make a fiery serpent and put it on a pole, and it shall be that everyone who is bitten, when he looks at it, shall live.
So Moshe made a bronze serpent and put it on a pole. And it came to be, if a serpent had bitten anyone, when he looked at the bronze serpent, he lived. And the children of Israel departed and camped in Ovoth. And they departed from Ovoth and camped at Iye ha-Avarim, in the wilderness which is east of Moab, toward sunrise. From there they departed and camped at the Wadi Zered. From there they departed and camped on the other side of the Arnon, which is in the wilderness that extends from the border of the Amorites, for the Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Therefore it is said in the book of the battles of Yahweh,
Waheb in Suphah, the Wadi Arnon, and the slope of the Wadi that turns aside to the dwelling of Ar, and lies on the border of Moab.
And from there on to Be'er, which is the well where Yahweh said to Moshe,
Gather the people, and let me give them water.
Yisrael then sang this song.
Spring up a well, sing to it, a well the leaders sank, which the nobles of the people dug by hacking with their staves.
Then from the wilderness on to Mattanah, from Mattanah to Nahaliel, from Nachaliel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth in the valley that is in the country of Moab to the top of Pisgah, which looks down on the wasteland. And Israel sent messengers to Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, saying,
Let me pass through your land. We shall not turn off into fields or vineyards. We shall not drink water from wells, but go by the sovereign's highway until we have passed over your border.
But Sihon would not allow Israel to pass through his border. So Sihon gathered all his people together and went out against Israel in the wilderness. And he came to Yahat and fought against Israel. And Israel smote him with the edge of the sword, and took possession of his land from the Arnon to the Yabok, as far as the children of Ammon, for the border of the children of Ammon was strong. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel dwelt in all the cities of the Amorites, in Heshbon, and in all its villages. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the sovereign of the Amorites, who had fought against the former sovereign of Moab, and had taken all his land from his hand as far as the Arnon. That is why those who speak in Proverbs say,
Come to Heshbon. Let the city of Sihon be built and established. For fire went out from Heshbon, a flame from the city of Sihon. It consumed Ar of Moab, the masters of the heights of the Arnon. Woe to you, Moab! You have perished, O people of Chemosh. He has given his sons as fugitives, and his daughters into captivity, to Sihon, the sovereign of the Amorites. Then we shot them. Heshbon has perished as far as Divon, and we laid waste as far as Nophach, which reaches to Medavah.
So Israel dwelt in the land of the Amorites. And Moshe sent to spy out Yazer. And they took its villages and drove out the Amorites who were there, and turned and went up by the way to Bashan. And Og, sovereign of Bashan, went out against them, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. And Yahweh said to Moshe,
Do not fear him, for I have given him into your hand, with all his people and his land. And you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon.
And they smote him, and his sons, and all his people, until no remnant was left to him. And they took possession of his land. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 22. And the children of Yisrael departed and camped in the desert plains of Moab, beyond the Yarden of Jericho. And Balak, son of Zippor, saw all that Yisrael had done to the Amorites. And Moab was exceedingly afraid of the people, because they were many. And Moab was in dread because of the children of Yisrael. And Moab said to the elders of Midian,
Now this company is licking up all that is around us, as an ox licks up the grass of the field.
Now Balak, son of Zippor, was sovereign of the Moabites at that time. And he sent messengers to Bilam, son of Beor, at Pethor, which is near the river in the land of the sons of his people, to call him, saying,
See, a people has come from Mizraim. See, they have covered the surface of the land and are settling next to me. And now please come at once. Curse this people for me, for they are too strong for me. It might be that I smite them and drive them out of the land, for I know that he whom you barak is Baruch, and he whom you curse is cursed.
And the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian left with divination fee in their hand. And they came to Bilam, and spoke the words of Balak to him. And he said to them,
Spend the night here, and I shall bring back word to you, as Yahweh speaks to me.
So the heads of Moab stayed with Bilam. And Elohim came to Bilam and said,
Who are these men with you?
And Bilam said to Elohim,
Balak, son of Zippor, sovereign of Moab, has sent to me, saying, See, A people has come out of Mitzrayim and covered the surface of the land. Come now, curse them for me. It might be that I am able to fight against them and drive them out.
And Elohim said to Bilam,
Do not go with them. You do not curse the people, for they are Baruch.
And Bilam rose in the morning and said to the heads of Balak,
Go back to your land, for Yahweh has refused to allow me to go with you.
And the heads of Moab arose and went to Balak and said,
Bilam refuses to come with us.
Then Balak again sent heads, more numerous and more esteemed than they. And they came to Bilam and said to him,
This is what Balak, son of Zippor, said. Do not be withheld from coming to me, please, for I esteem you very greatly, and whatever you say to me, I do. Therefore, please come, curse this people for me.
And Bilam answered and said to the servants of Balak,
Though Balak were to give me his house filled with silver and gold, I am unable to go beyond the word of Yahweh my Elohim, to do less or more. And now, please, you also stay here tonight, and let me find out what more Yahweh says to me.
And Elohim came to Bilam at night and said to him,
If the men come to call you, rise and go with them, but only the word which I speak to you, that you do.
And Bilam rose in the morning and saddled his donkey and went with the heads of Moab. But the displeasure of Elohim burned because he went. And the messenger of Yahweh stationed himself in the way as an adversary against him. And he was riding on his donkey, and his 2 servants were with him. And the donkey saw the messenger of Yahweh standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand. And the donkey turned aside out of the way and went into the field. So Bilam beat the donkey to turn her back onto the way. Then the messenger of Yahweh stood in a narrow passage between the vineyards, with a wall on this side and a wall on that side. And when the donkey saw the messenger of Yahweh, she pushed herself against the wall and crushed Bilam's foot against the wall. So he beat her again. And the messenger of Yahweh went further and stood in a narrow place where there was no way to turn aside right or left. And when the donkey saw the messenger of Yahweh, she lay down under Bilam. So Bilam's displeasure burned, and he beat the donkey with his staff. Then Yahweh opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Bilam,
What have I done to you that you have beaten me these 3 times?
And Bilam said to the donkey,
Because you have mocked me. If there were a sword in my hand, for I would have killed you by now.
And the donkey said to Bilam,
Am I not your donkey on which you have ridden ever since I became yours to this day? Was I ever known to do so to you?
And he said,
No.
Then Yahweh opened Bilam's eyes, and he saw the messenger of Yahweh standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand. And he bowed his head and fell on his face. And the messenger of Yahweh said to him,
Why have you beaten your donkey these 3 times? See, I have come out to stand against you, because your way is reckless before me. And the donkey saw me and turned aside from me these 3 times. If she had not turned aside from me, I certainly would have killed you by now and let her live.
And Bilam said to the messenger of Yahweh,
I have sinned, for I did not know you stood in the way against me. And now, if evil is in your eyes, let me turn back.
And the messenger of Yahweh said to Bilam,
Go with the men, but only the word that I speak to you, that you speak.
Bilam then went with the heads of Balak. And Balak heard that Bilam was coming. He went out to meet him at the city of Moab, which is on the border at the Arnon, which was in the extremity of the border. And Balak said to Bilam,
Did I not urgently send to you, calling for you? Why did you not come to me? Am I not able to esteem you?
And Bilam said to Balak,
See, I have come to you. Now, am I at all able to say somewhat? The word that Elohim puts in my mouth, that I speak.
And Bilam went with Balak, and they came to Kiriath Chutzioth. And Balak slaughtered cattle and sheep, and he sent some to Bilam, and to the heads who were with him. And it came to be in the morning, that Balak took Bilam and brought him up to the high places of Baal, and from there he saw the extremity of the camp. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 23. And Bilam said to Balak,
Build 7 altars for me here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me here.
And Balak did as Bilam had spoken. And Balak and Bilam offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Bilam then said to Balak,
Stand by your burnt offering, and let me go on. It might be that Yahweh comes to meet me, and whatever he shows me I shall declare to you.
And he went to a bare height. And Elohim came to Bilam, and he said to him,
I have prepared the 7 altars, and I have offered on each altar a bull and a ram.
And Yahweh put a word in the mouth of Bilam, and said,
Return to Balak, and this is what you say.
And he returned to him, and saw him standing by his burnt offering, he and all the heads of Moab. And he took up his proverb, and said,
Balak, the sovereign of Moab, has brought me from Aram, from the mountains of the east. Come, curse Yaakov for me, and come, rage at Israel. How do I curse whom El has not cursed, and how do I rage at whom Yahweh has not raged? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I observe him. Look, a people dwelling alone, not reckoning itself among the nations. Who shall count the dust of Yaakov, and the number of 1/4 of Israel? Let me die the death of the upright, and let my end be like his.
And Balak said to Bilam,
What have you done to me? I took you to curse my enemies, and look, you have kept on Berakah.
And he answered and said,
Should I not take heed to speak what Yahweh has put in my mouth?
And Balak said to him,
Please come with me to another place from where you see them. You only see the extremity, but not all of them. Curse them for me from there.
And he took him to the field of Sophim, to the top of Pisgah, and built 7 altars, and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. And he said to Balak,
Stand here by your burnt offering, while I meet over there.
And Yahweh came to Bilam, and put a word in his mouth, and said,
Go back to Balak, and say this.
So he went to him, and saw him standing by his burnt offering, and the heads of Moab with him. And Balak asked him,
What did Yahweh say?
And he took up his proverb, and said,
Rise up, Balak, and hear. Listen to me, son of Zippor. El is not a man to lie, nor a son of man to repent. Has he said, and would he not do it? Or spoken, and would not confirm it? See, I have received to Barak, and he has Barak, and I do not reverse it. He has not looked upon wickedness in Yaakov, nor has he seen trouble in Israel. Yahweh, his Elohim, is with him, and the shout of a sovereign is in him. El, who brought them out of Mitzrayim, is for them like the horns of a wild ox. For there is no sorcery against Yaakov, nor is there any divination against Israel. Now it is said to Yaakov and to Israel, What has El done? Look, a people rises like a lioness, and lifts itself up like a lion. It lies not down until it devours the prey, and drinks the blood of the slain.
And Balak said to Bilam,
Do not curse them at all, nor barak them at all.
And Bilam answered and said to Balak,
Have I not spoken to you, saying, All that Yahweh speaks, that I do?
And Balak said to Bilam,
Please come. Let me take you to another place. It might be right in the eyes of Elohim that you curse them for me from there.
And Balak took Bilam to the top of Peor, that overlooks the wasteland. And Bilam said to Balak,
Build 7 altars for me here, and prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me here.
And Balak did as Bilam had said, and offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 24. And when Bilam saw that it pleased Yahweh to barak Yisrael, he did not go as at other times to seek to use sorcery, but he put his face toward the wilderness. And Bilam lifted up his eyes and saw Yisrael encamped according to their tribes. And the Ruach of Elohim came upon him, and he took up his proverb and said,
The saying of Bilam, son of Beor, and the saying of the man whose eyes are open, the saying of him who hears the words of El, who sees the vision of El Shaddai, who falls down with eyes opened wide. How good are your tents, O Yaakov, your dwellings, O Yisrael, like wadis that stretch out, like gardens by a river, like aloes planted by Yahweh, like cedars beside waters. He makes water flow from his buckets, and his seed is in many waters. His sovereign is higher than Agag, and his reign is exalted. El, who brought him out of Mitzrayim, is for them like the horns of a wild ox. He devours nations, his enemies, and he breaks their bones, and he strikes through with his arrows. He bowed down, he lay down like a lion, and, like a lion, who would rouse him? Baruch is he who barach you, and cursed is he who curses you.
Then the displeasure of Balak burned against Bilam, and he struck his hands together. Balak then said to Bilam,
I summoned you to curse my enemies, and see, you have kept on Berakah these 3 times, and now flee to your place. I said I would greatly esteem you, and see, Yahweh has kept you back from esteem.
And Bilam said to Balak,
Did I not also speak to your messengers whom you sent to me, saying, If Balak should give me his house filled with silver and gold, I am unable to go beyond the word of Yahweh, to do either good or evil of my own heart. What Yahweh speaks, that I speak. And now, see, I am going to my people. Come, let me advise you what this people is going to do to your people in the latter days.
And he took up his proverb and said,
The saying of Bilam, son of Beor, and the saying of the man whose eyes are opened, the saying of him who hears the words of El, and knows the knowledge of the Most High, who sees the vision of El Shaddai, who falls down with eyes opened wide. I see him, but not now. I observe him, but not near. A star shall come out of Yaakov, and a scepter shall rise out of Yisrael, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and shall destroy all the sons of Shaph. And Edom shall be a possession, and Seir shall be a possession. Enemies, and Yisrael is doing mightily. And a ruler shall come from Yaakov, and destroy the remnant from Ar.
He then looked on Amalek, and he took up his proverb and said,
Amalek was first among the nations, but his latter end is to perish forever.
He then looked on the Canaanites, and he took up his proverb and said,
Firm is your dwelling place, and your nest is placed in the rock. But Cain is to be burned. Till when does Ashur keep you captive?
And he took up his proverb and said,
Oh, who lives when El does this? And the ships shall come from the coast of Kittim, and they shall afflict Ashur, and afflict Aver, and so shall Amalek, and he also perishes.
And Bilam arose and left, and returned to his place. And Balak also went his way. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 25. And Yisrael dwelt in Shittim, and the people began to whore with the daughters of Moab. And they invited the people to the slaughterings of their mighty ones, and the people ate and bowed down to their mighty ones. Thus Yisrael was joined to Baal Peor, and the displeasure of Yahweh burned against Yisrael. And Yahweh said to Moshe,
Take all the leaders of the people and hang them up before Yahweh, before the sun, so that the burning displeasure of Yahweh turns away from Israel.
And Moshe said to the judges of Israel,
Each one of you slay his men who were joined to Baal Peor.
And see, one of the children of Israel came and brought to his brothers a Midianite woman before the eyes of Moshe, and before the eyes of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping at the door of the tent of appointment. And when Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aharon the Cohen, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a spear in his hand, and he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through, the man of Israel and the woman through her abdomen. Thus the plague among the children of Israel came to a stop. And those who died in the plague were 24,000. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Phinehas, son of Eleazar, son of Aaron the Cohen, has turned back my wrath from the children of Israel, because he was ardent with my ardor in their midst, so that I did not consume the children of Israel in my ardor. Therefore say, see, I am giving him my covenant of peace, and it shall be to him and to his seed after him a covenant of an everlasting kehunah, because he was ardent for his Elohim and made atonement for the children of Israel.
And the name of the Israelite who was killed with the Midianite woman, was Zimri, son of Salu, a leader of a father's house among the Shimonites. And the name of the Midianite woman who was killed was Cozbi, the daughter of Tsur. He was head of the people of a father's house in Midian. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Distress the Midianites, and you shall smite them, for they distressed you with their tricks, which they deceived you in the matter of Peor, and in the matter of Cozbi, the daughter of a leader of Midian, their sister, who was killed in the day of the plague because of Peor.
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 26. And it came to be, after the plague, that Yahweh spoke to Moshe and Eleazar, son of Aharon the Cohen, saying,
Take a census of all the congregation of the children of Israel, from 20 years old and above, by their fathers' houses, everyone going out to the army in Israel.
So Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen spoke with them in the desert plains of Moab, by the Yarden of Jericho, saying,
From 20 years old and above, as Yahweh commanded Moshe and the children of Israel who came out of the land of Mitzrayim.
Reuven, firstborn of Yisrael, sons of Reuven, of Hanoch, the clan of the Hanochites, of Palu, the clan of the Paluites, of Chetzron, the clan of the Chetzronites, of Carmi, the clan of the Carmites. These are the clans of the Reuvenites, and their registered ones were 43,730. And the son of Palu, Eliab, and the sons of Eliab, Nemuel, and Dathan, and Aviram. This Dathan and Aviram were the called ones of the congregation who contended against Moshe and against Aharon in the company of Korah, when they contended against Yahweh. And the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up together with Korah, when that company died, when the fire consumed 250 men, and they became a sign, but the sons of Korah did not die. Sons of Shimon, according to their clans, of Nemuel, the clan of the Nemuelites, of Yamin, the clan of the Yaminites, of Yachin, the clan of the Yachinites, of Zerach, the clan of the Zarachites, of Shaul, the clan of the Shaulites. These are the clans of the Shimonites, 22,200. Sons of Gad, according to their clans, of Tsephon, the clan of the Tsephonites, of Chagi, the clan of the Chagites, of Shuni, the clan of the Shunites, of Ozni, the clan of the Oznites, of Eri, the clan of the Arites, of Erod, the clan of the Orodites, of Araeli, the clan of the Araelites. These are the clans of the sons of Gad, according to their registered ones, 40,500. Sons of Yahudah, and Onan. And and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And sons of Yahudah, according to their clans, of Shelah, the clan of the Shelanites, of Peretz, the clan of the Partzites, of Zerach, the clan of the Zarchites, and sons of Peretz, of Chetzron, the clan of the Chetzronites, of Chamul, the clan of the Chamulites. These are the clans of Yahudah, according to their registered ones, 76,500. Sons of Yisachar, according to their clans, of Tolah, the clan of the Tolaites, of Puah, the clan of the Punites, of Yashuv, the clan of the Yashuvites, of Shimron, the clan of the Shimronites. These are the clans of Yisachar, according to their registered ones, 64,300. Sons of Zavulun, according to their clans, of Sered, the clan of the Sardites, of Elon, the clan of the Elonites, of Yochlael, the clan of the Yochlaelites. These are the clans of the Zavulonites, according to their registered ones, 60,500. Sons of Yosef, according to their clans, by Manasseh and Ephraim. Sons of Manasseh, of Machir, the clan of the Machirites, and Machir brought forth Gilad. Of Gilad, the clan of the Giladites. These are sons of Gilad. Of Iezer, the clan of the Iezerites. Of Chelak, the clan of the Chelakites. Of Asriel, the clan of the Asraelites. Of Shechem, the clan of the Shechemites. Of Shemidah, the clan of the Shemidaites. Of Hefer, the clan of the Heferites. And Zelophehad, son of Kepher, had no sons, but daughters. And the names of the daughters of Zelophehad, Machlah, and Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. These are the clans of Manasseh, and their registered ones, 52,700. These are the sons of Ephraim, according to their clans, of Shuthalach, the clan of the Shuthalachites, of Becher, the clan of the Bachrites, of Tachan, the clan of the Tachanites. And these are sons of Shuthalach, of Aram, the clan of the Aronites. These are the clans of the sons of Ephraim, according to their registered ones, 32,500. These are the sons of Yosef, according to their clans. Sons of Benjamin, according to their clans, of Bela, the clan of the Belaites, of Ashbel, the clan of the Ashbelites, of Achiram, the clan of the Achiramites, of Shephufam, the clan of the Shephufamites, of Chufam, the clan of the Chufamites. And sons of Bela were Ard and Naaman. Of Ard, the clan of the Ardites. Of Naaman, the clan of the Naamites. These are sons of Benjamin, according to their clans and their registered ones, 45,600. These are sons of Dan, according to their clans, of Shucham, the clan of the Shuchamites. These are the clans of Dan, according to their clans. All the clans of the Shuchamites, according to their registered ones, 64,400. Sons of Asher, according to their clans, of Yimnah, the clan of the Yimnahites, of Yishwi, the clan of the Yishwites, of Beriah, the clan of the Beriites, of the sons of Beriah, of Hever, the clan of the Heverites, of Malkiel, the clan of the Malkielites. The name of the daughter of Asher was Serach. These are the clans of the sons of Asher, according to their registered ones, 53,400. Sons of Naphtali, according to their clans, of Yachzeel, the clan of the Yachzeelites, of Guni, the clan of the Gunites, of Yetzer, the clan of the Yetzerites, of Shileam, the clan of the Shilemites, These are the clans of Naphtali, according to their clans and their registered ones, 45,400. These are the registered ones of the children of Israel, 601,730. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
The land is to be divided to these as an inheritance according to the number of names. To the large one you give a larger inheritance, and to the small one you give a smaller inheritance. Each shall be given its inheritance according to their registered ones. But the land is divided by lot. They inherit according to the names of the tribes of their fathers. According to the lot, their inheritance is divided between the larger and the smaller.
And these are the registered ones of the Levites, according to their clans. Of Gerashon, the clan of the Gerashonites. Of Kohath, the clan of the Kohathites. Of Merari, the clan of the Merarites. These are the clans of the Levites, the clan of the Livnites, the clan of the Hevronites, the clan of the Machlites, the clan of the Mushites, and the clan of the Korhites. And Kohath brought forth Amram. And the name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, the daughter of Lewi, who was born to Lewi in Mitzrayim. And to Amram she bore Aharon and Moshe, and their sister Miriam. And to Aharon were born Nadav and Avihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. And Nadav and Avihu died when they brought strange fire before Yahweh. And their registered ones were 23,000, every male from a month old and above, for they were not registered among the other children of Israel, because there was no inheritance given to them among the children of Israel. These are the ones registered by Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen, who registered the sons of Israel in the desert plains of Moab, by the Yarden of Jericho. But among these there was not a man of those registered by Moshe and Aharon the Cohen, when they registered the sons of Israel in the wilderness of Sinai. For Yahweh had said of them,
They shall certainly die in the wilderness.
And not a man was left of them, except Caleb, son of Yefunah, and Yahshua, son of Nun. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 27. Then came the daughters of Zelophehad, son of Hepher, son of Gilad, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, from the clans of Manasseh, son of Yosef. And these were the names of his daughters: Machlah, Noah, and Hoglah, and Milcah, and Tirzah. And they stood before Moshe, and before Eleazar the Cohen, and before the leaders and all the congregation, by the doorway of the tent of appointment, saying,
Our father died in the wilderness, yet he was not in the company of those who met together against Yahweh in company with Korah. But he died in his own sin, and he had no sons. Why should the name of our father be removed from among his clan because he had no son? Give us a possession among the brothers of our father.
Moshe then brought their case before Yahweh, and Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
The daughters of Zelophehad speak what is right. You should certainly give them a possession of inheritance among their father's brothers, and cause the inheritance of their father to pass to them. And speak to the children of Israel, saying, When a man dies and has no son, then you shall cause his inheritance to pass to his daughter. And if he has no daughter, then you shall give his inheritance to his brothers. And if he has no brothers, then you shall give his inheritance to his father's brothers. And if his father has no brothers, then you shall give his inheritance to the nearest relative in his clan, and he shall possess it.
And it shall be to the children of Israel a law of right ruling, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And Yahweh said to Moshe,
Go up into this Mount Avarim, and see the land which I have given to the children of Israel. And when you have seen it, you also shall be gathered to your people as Aaron your brother was gathered, because you rebelled against my mouth in the wilderness of Sin, in the strife of the congregation, to kadosh me at the waters before their eyes.
These were the waters of Meribah at Kadesh, in the wilderness of Zin. And Moshe spoke to Yahweh, saying,
Let Yahweh, the Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, appoint a man over the congregation, who goes out before them and comes in before them, who leads them out and brings them in, so that the congregation of Yahweh be not like sheep without a shepherd.
And Yahweh said to Moshe,
Take Yehoshua, son of Nun, with you, a man in whom is the Ruach, and you shall lay your hand on him, and shall stand him before Eleazar the Cohen, and before all the congregation, and give him charge before their eyes, and shall put some of your esteem upon him, so that all the congregation of the children of Israel obey. And he is to stand before Eleazar the Cohen, who shall inquire before Yahweh for him by the right ruling of the Urim. At his word they go out, and at his word they come in, both he and all the children of Israel with him, all the congregation.
And Moshe did as Yahweh commanded him, and took Yahshua, and stood him before Eleazar the Cohen, and before all the congregation, and laid his hands on him, and commissioned him, as Yahweh commanded by the hand of Moshe. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 28. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Command the children of Israel, and you shall say to them, Take heed to bring my offering, my food for my offerings, made by fire, as a sweet fragrance to me, at their appointed time. And you shall say to them, This is the offering made by fire, which you bring to Yahweh, 2 male lambs, a year old, perfect ones, daily, a continual burnt offering. The one lamb you prepare in the morning, and the other lamb you prepare between the evenings, with 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour as a grain offering, mixed with 1/4 of a hin of pressed oil, a continual burnt offering, which was offered at Mount Sinai for a sweet fragrance, an offering made by fire to Yahweh, and its drink offering, 1/4 of a hin for each lamb. Pour out the drink to Yahweh as an offering in the Kodesh place, and the other lamb you prepare between the evenings. As the morning grain offering and its drink offering, you prepare it as an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. And on the Shabbat day, 2 lambs a year old, perfect ones, and 2/10 parts of fine flour as a grain offering, mixed with oil, with its drink offering, the burnt offering for every Shabbat, besides the continual burnt offering with its drink offering. And on the beginnings of your months, you bring near a burnt offering to Yahweh, 2 young bulls and 1 ram, and 7 lambs a year old, perfect ones, 3/10 parts of fine flour as a grain offering mixed with oil. For each bull, 2/10 parts of fine flour as a grain offering mixed with oil for the 1 ram, and 1/10 part of fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering for each lamb, as a burnt offering of sweet fragrance, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. And their drink offering is 1/2 hin of wine for a bull, and 1/3 of a hin for a ram, and 1/4 of a hin for a lamb. This is the burnt offering for each month throughout the months of the year. And 1 male goat as a sin offering to Yahweh is prepared, besides the continual burnt offering and its drink offering. And in the first month, on the 14th day, is the Pesach of Yahweh. And on the 15th day of this month is a festival, For 7 days unleavened bread is eaten. On the first day is a Kodesh gathering. You do no servile work. And you shall bring near an offering, made by fire as a burnt offering to Yahweh. 2 young bulls and 1 ram, and 7 lambs a year old, perfect ones they are for you. And their grain offering, fine flour mixed with oil. Prepare 3/10 parts for a bull, and 2/10 parts for a ram. Prepare 1/10 part for each of the 7 lambs, and 1 goat as a sin offering, to make atonement for you. Prepare these besides the burnt offering of the morning, which is for a continual burnt offering. According to these, you are to prepare the food of the offering made by fire daily for 7 days, as a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. It is prepared besides the continual burnt offering and its drink offering. And on the 7th day, you have a Kodesh gathering. You do no servile work. And on the day of the first fruits, when you bring a new grain offering to Yahweh at your festival, a Shavuot, you have a Kodesh gathering. You do no servile work. And you shall bring near a burnt offering as a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. 2 young bulls, 1 ram, and 7 lambs a year old, with their grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 parts for each bull, 2/10 parts for the 1 ram, 1/10 part for each of the 7 lambs, 1 male goat to make atonement for you, perfect ones they are for you. Prepare them with their drink offerings, besides the continual burnt offering with its grain offering.
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 29.
And in the 7th month, on the 1st of the month, you have a Kodesh gathering. You do no servile work. It is a Yom Teruah for you. And you shall prepare a burnt offering as a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. 1 young bull, 1 ram, 7 lambs a year old, perfect ones. And their grain offering, fine flour, mixed with oil, 3/10 parts for the bull, 2/10 parts for the ram, and 1/10 part for each of the 7 lambs, and 1 male goat as a sin offering, to make atonement for you, besides the burnt offering with its grain offering for the new moon, the continual burnt offering with its grain offering, and their drink offerings, according to their right ruling, as a sweet fragrance, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. And on the 10th of this 7th month, you have a Kodesh gathering, and you shall afflict your beings. You do no work. And you shall bring near a burnt offering to Yahweh, a sweet fragrance. 1 young bull, 1 ram, 7 lambs a year old, perfect ones. They are for you, and their grain offering, fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 parts for the bull, 2/10 parts for the 1 ram, 1/10 part for each of the 7 lambs, 1 male goat as a sin offering, besides the sin offering for atonement, the continual burnt offering with its grain offering, and their drink offerings. And on the 15th day of the 7th month you have a Kodesh gathering. You do no servile work, and you shall celebrate a festival to Yahweh 7 days. And you shall bring near a burnt offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. 13 young bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs a year old, perfect ones they are, and their grain offering, fine flour mixed with oil, 3/10 parts for each of the 13 bulls, 2/10 parts for each of the 2 rams, and 1/10 part for each of the 14 lambs, and 1 male goat as a sin offering, besides the continual burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. Then on the 2nd day, 12 young bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs a year old, perfect ones, and their grain offering, and their drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs, by their number, according to the right ruling, and 1 male goat as a sin offering, besides the continual burnt offering with its grain offering and their drink offerings. And on the third day, 11 bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs a year old, perfect ones, and their grain offering and their drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs by their number according to the right ruling, and 1 goat as a sin offering, besides the continual burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. Then on the 4th day, 10 bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs a year old, perfect ones, and their grain offering, and their drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs by their number according to the right ruling, and 1 male goat as a sin offering, besides the continual burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. Then on the 5th day, 9 bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs a year old, perfect ones, and their grain offering and their drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs by their number according to the right ruling, and 1 goat as a sin offering, besides the continual burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. Then on the 6th day, 8 bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs a year old, perfect ones, and their grain offering, and their drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs by their number according to the right ruling, and 1 goat as a sin offering, besides the continual burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. Then, on the 7th day, 7 bulls, 2 rams, 14 lambs a year old, perfect ones, and their grain offering, and their drink offerings for the bulls, for the rams, and for the lambs by their number, according to the right ruling, and 1 goat as a sin offering, besides the continual burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. On the 8th day, you have an assembly, you do no servile work. And you shall bring near a burnt offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh, 1 bull, 1 ram, 7 lambs a year old, perfect ones, their grain offering and their drink offerings for the bull, for the ram, and for the lambs by their number, according to the right ruling, and 1 goat as a sin offering, besides the continual burnt offering, its grain offering, and its drink offering. These you prepare to Yahweh at your appointed times, besides your vowed offerings and your voluntary offerings, as your burnt offerings and your grain offerings, as your drink offerings and your peace offerings.
And Moshe spoke to the children of Israel according to all Yahweh had commanded Moshe. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 30. And Moshe spoke to the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying,
This is the word which Yahweh has commanded. When a man vows a vow to Yahweh, or swears an oath to bind himself by some agreement, he does not break his word. He does according to all that comes out of his mouth. Or if a woman vows a vow to Yahweh and binds herself by some agreement while in her father's house in her youth, and her father hears her vow and the agreement by which she has bound herself, and her father has kept silent towards her, then all her vows shall stand, and every agreement with which she has bound herself stands. But if her father forbids her on the day that he hears, then none of her vows, nor her agreements by which she has bound herself, stand. And Yahweh pardons her, because her father has forbidden her. But if she at all belongs to a husband, while bound by her vows or by a rash utterance from her lips by which she bound herself, and her husband hears it, and he has kept silent towards her on the day that he hears, then her vow shall stand, and her agreements by which she bound herself do stand. But if her husband forbids her on the day that he hears it, then he has nullified her vow which she vowed, and the rash utterance of her lips by which she bound herself, and Yahweh pardons her. But any vow of a widow or a divorced woman by which she has bound herself stands against her. And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound herself by an agreement with an oath, and her husband heard it, and has kept silent towards her and did not forbid her, then all her vows shall stand, and every agreement by which she bound herself stands. But if her husband clearly nullified them on the day he heard them, then whatever came from her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the agreement binding her, it does not stand. Her husband has nullified them, and Yahweh pardons her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict her being, let her husband confirm it, or let her husband nullify it. But if her husband is altogether silent at her from day to day, then he confirms all her vows, or all the agreements that bind her. He confirms them, because he kept silent towards her on the day that he heard. But if he nullifies them after he has heard, then he shall bear her wickedness.
These are the laws which Yahweh commanded Moshe, between a man and his wife, and between a father and his daughter in her youth in her father's house. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 31. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Take vengeance for the children of Israel on the Midianites. After that, you are to be gathered to your people.
And Moshe spoke to the people, saying,
Arm some of yourselves for the campaign, and let them go against the Midianites, to take vengeance for Yahweh on Midian. Send 1,000 from each tribe of all the tribes of Israel for the campaign.
So there were supplied from the tribes of Israel 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed ones for the campaign. And Moshe sent them on the campaign, 1,000 from each tribe, them and Phinehas, son of Eleazar the Cohen, on the campaign, with the Kodesh utensils and the trumpets for sounding in his hand. And they fought against the Midianites, as Yahweh commanded Moshe, and slew all the males. And they slew the sovereigns of Midian, with the rest of those who were pierced, Ewi and Rechem, and Tsur, and Hur, and Reva, the 5 sovereigns of Midian. And they slew Bilam, son of Beor, with the sword. And the sons of Israel took all the women of Midian captive, with their little ones, and took as spoil all the livestock and all their possessions. And they burned with fire all the cities where they dwelt, and all their settlements. And they took all the spoil and all the booty, both of man and beast. And they brought the captives and the booty, and the spoil to Moshe, and to Eleazar the Cohen, and to the congregation of the children of Israel, to the camp in the desert plains of Moab, by the Yarden of Jericho. And Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen, and all the leaders of the congregation, went to meet them outside the camp. But Moshe was wroth with the officers of the army, with the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds, who had come from the campaign. And Moshe said to them,
Have you kept all the women alive? Look, they are the ones who caused the children of Israel through the word of Bilam to trespass against Yahweh in the matter of Peor. and there was a plague among the congregation of Yahweh. And now slay every male among the little ones, and every woman who has known a man by lying with a man, you shall slay. But keep alive for yourselves all the female children who have not known a man by lying with a man. And you, camp outside the camp 7 days. Whoever has slain any being, and whoever has touched any slain, cleanse yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. And cleanse every garment and every object of leather and whatever is made of goat's hair and every object of wood.
And Eleazar the Kohen said to the men of the campaign who went to the battle,
This is the law of the Torah, which Yahweh commanded Moshe. Only the gold and the silver, the bronze, the iron, the tin, and the lead, every object that passes through fire, you put through the fire, and it shall be clean. Only let it be cleansed with the water for uncleanness. And whatever does not pass through fire, you pass through water. And you shall wash your garments on the 7th day, and be clean, and afterwards come into the camp.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Count up the plunder that was taken, of man and of beast, you and Eleazar the Kohen, and the heads of the fathers of the congregation, and you shall divide the plunder into 2 parts, between those who took part in the battle, who went out on the campaign, and all the congregation. And put aside a levy for Yahweh on the men of battle who went out on the campaign, 1 out of every 500 of man, and of the cattle, and of the donkeys, and of the sheep. Take it from their half, and give it to Eleazar the Kohen as a contribution to Yahweh. And from the children of Israel's half, you shall take 1 of every 50, of man, of the cattle, of the donkeys, and of the sheep, of all the livestock, and give them to the Levites guarding the duty of the Mishkan of Yahweh.
And Moshe and Eleazar the Kohen did as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And the booty remaining from the plunder, which the people of the campaign had taken, was 675,000 sheep, and 72,000 cattle, and 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 human beings in all, of women who had not known a man by lying with a man. And the half, the portion for those who went out on the campaign, was in number 337,500 sheep. And the levy unto Yahweh of the sheep was 675. And the cattle were 36,000, of which the levy unto Yahweh was 72. And the donkeys were 30,500, of which the levy unto Yahweh was 61. And the human beings were 16,000, of which the levy unto Yahweh was 32 beings. So Moshe gave the levy, which was the contribution unto Yahweh, to Eleazar the Kohen, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And from the children of Israel's half, which Moshe divided from the men who campaigned. Now the half belonging to the congregation was 337,500 sheep, and 36,000 cattle, and 30,500 donkeys, and 16,000 human beings. Then Moshe took from the children of Israel's half 1 out of every 50, drawn from man and beast, and gave them to the Levites, who guarded the duty of the Mishkan of Yahweh, as Yahweh commanded Moshe. And the officers who were over thousands of the campaign, the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds, came near to Moshe, and they said to Moshe,
Your servants have taken account of the fighting men under our command, and not a man of us is missing. So we have brought an offering for Yahweh, what every man found of ornaments of gold, armlets and bracelets, and signet rings and earrings and necklaces, to make atonement for ourselves before Yahweh.
And Moshe and Eleazar the Kohen received the gold from them, all the fashioned ornaments, and all the gold of the offering that they presented to Yahweh, from the commanders of thousands and commanders of hundreds, was 16,750 shekels. The men of the campaign had taken spoil, every man for himself. And Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen received the gold from the commanders of thousands and of hundreds, and brought it into the tent of appointment, as a remembrance for the children of Israel before Yahweh. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 32. And the children of Reuven and the children of Gad had much livestock, a large number. And they saw the land of Yazer and the land of Gilad, and saw that the place was a place for livestock. So the children of Gad and the children of Reuven came and spoke to Moshe and to Eleazar the Cohen, and to the leaders of the congregation, saying,
Atarath and Divon, and Yazer, and Nimrah, and Heshmon, and Elaleh, and Sevam, and Navo, and Beon. The land which Yahweh had smitten before the congregation of Israel is a land for livestock, and your servants have livestock.
And they said,
If we have found favor in your eyes, let this land be given to your servants as a possession, and do not let us pass over the Jordan.
And Moshe said to the children of Gad and to the children of Reuven,
Are your brothers to go into the battle while you yourselves sit here? Now why do you discourage the heart of the children of Israel from passing over into the land which Yahweh has given them? Thus your fathers did when I sent them away from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up to the Wadi Eshkol and saw the land, they discouraged the heart of the children of Israel, so that they did not go into the land which Yahweh had given them. Then the displeasure of Yahweh burned on that day, and he swore an oath, saying,
Not one of the men who came up from Mitzrayim, from 20 years old and above, is to see the land of which I swore to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, because they did not follow me completely, except Caleb, son of Yefuneh, the Kenizzite, and Yehoshua, son of Nun, for they have followed Yahweh completely.
So the displeasure of Yahweh burned against Yisrael, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until all the generation that had done evil in the eyes of Yahweh was destroyed. And see, you have risen in your father's place, an increase of men, sinners, to add still more the burning displeasure of Yahweh against Yisrael. For if you turn away from following him, he shall once again leave them in the wilderness, and you shall destroy all these people.
Then they came near to him and said,
Let us build sheep enclosures here for our livestock, and cities for our little ones. But let us ourselves be armed, hastening before the children of Israel until we have brought them to their place, and our little ones shall dwell in the walled cities because of the inhabitants of the land. We shall not return to our homes until every one of the children of Israel has received his inheritance, for we shall not inherit with them on the other side of the Jordan and beyond, because our inheritance has fallen to us on this eastern side of the Jordan.
And Moshe said to them,
If you make this promise, if you arm yourselves before Yahweh for battle, and all your armed ones pass over the Jordan before Yahweh, until he has driven out his enemies from before him, and the land has been subdued before Yahweh. Then afterward you shall return and be guiltless before Yahweh and before Yisrael. And this land shall be your possession before Yahweh. But if you do not do so, then see, you shall sin against Yahweh, and know Your sin is going to find you out. Build cities for your little ones and enclosures for your sheep, and do what you have promised.
And the children of Gad and the children of Reuven spoke to Moshe, saying,
Your servants are going to do as my master commands. Our little ones, our wives, our flocks, and all our livestock are going to be there in the cities of Gilad. But your servants are passing over, every armed one of the army, before Yahweh to battle, as my master says.
And Moshe gave command concerning them to Eleazar the Cohen, and to Yahshua son of Nun, and to the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And Moshe said to them,
If the children of Gad and the children of Reuven pass over the Yarden with you, every man armed for battle before Yahweh, and the land has been subdued before you, then you shall give them the land of Gilad as a possession. But if they do not pass over armed with you, they shall have possessions among you in the land of Canaan.
Then the children of Gad and the children of Reuven answered, saying,
As Yahweh has said to your servants, so we do. We ourselves are passing over armed before Yahweh into the land of Canaan, but the possession of our inheritance remains with us beyond the Yarden.
So Moshe gave to the children of Gad, to the children of Reuven, and to half the tribe of Manasseh, son of Yosef, the reign of Sihon, sovereign of the Amorites, and the reign of Og, sovereign of Bashan, the land with its cities within the borders, the cities of the land round about. And the children of Gad built Divon, and Ataroth, and Aroer, and Atroth, Shofan, and Yazer, and Yochbahah, and Beth Nimrah, and Beth Haran, walled cities and enclosures for sheep. And the children of Reuven built Heshbon, and El Ale, and Kiriathaim, Nevo, and Baal Meon, the names being changed, and Shivma, and they gave other names to the cities which they built. And the sons of Machir, son of Manasseh, went to Gilad and took it, and dispossessed the Amorites who were in it. So Moshe gave Gilad to Machir, son of Manasseh, and he dwelt in it. And Yair, son of Manasseh, went and took its small towns, and called them Chawoth Yair. And Novach went and took Kinath and its villages, and he called it Novach after his own name. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 33. These are the departures of the children of Yisrael, who went out of the land of Mitzrayim by their divisions, under the hand of Moshe and Aharon. And Moshe wrote down the starting points of their departures at the command of Yahweh, and these are their departures according to their starting points. So they departed from Ramesses in the first month. On the 15th day of the first month, on the morrow of the Pesach, the children of Yisrael went out with a high hand before the eyes of all the Mitzrites. And the Mitzrites were burying all their firstborn, whom Yahweh had smitten among them. Also on their mighty ones Yahweh had executed judgments. Then the children of Yisrael departed from Ramesses and camped at Sukkoth. And they departed from Sukkoth and camped at Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness. And they departed from Etham and turned back to Pihahiroth, which is before Baal Zephon, and they camped near Migdol. And they departed from before Hahiroth and passed over through the midst of the sea into the wilderness, went 3 days' journey in the wilderness of Etham, and camped at Marah. And they departed from Marah and came to Elim. And at Elim were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees. So they camped there. And they departed from Elim and camped by the Sea of Reeds. And they departed from the Sea of Reeds, and camped in the wilderness of Sin. And they departed from the wilderness of Sin, and camped at Dophkah. And they departed from Dophkah, and camped at Alush. And they departed from Alush, and camped at Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. And they departed from Rephidim, and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. And they departed from the wilderness of Sinai, and camped at Kivroth Hata'awa. And they departed from Kivroth Hata'awa, and camped at Chatzeroth, and departed from Chatzeroth, and camped at Rithma. And they departed from Rithma, and camped at Rimon Peretz. And they departed from Rimon Peretz, and camped at Livna. And they departed from Livna, and camped at Risa. And they departed from Risa, and camped at Kehelatha. And they departed from Kehelatha, and camped at Mount Shapher. And they departed from Mount Shapher, and camped at Cheradah. And they departed from Cheradah, and camped at Makeloth. And they departed from Makeloth, and camped at Tachath. And they departed from Tachath, and camped at Terach. And they departed from Terach, and camped at Mithkah. And they departed from Mithkah, and camped at Chashmonah. And they departed from Chashmonah, and camped at Moseroth. And they departed from Moseroth, and camped at Bnei Ya'akan. And they departed from Bnei Ya'akan, and camped at Chor HaGidgad. And they departed from Chor HaGidgad, and camped at Yotvata. And they departed from Yotvata, and camped at Avronah. And they departed from Avronah, and camped at Etzion Gever. And they departed from Etzion Gever, and camped in the wilderness of Tzin, which is Kadesh. And they departed from Kadesh, and camped at Mount Hor, on the boundary of the land of Edom. Then Aharon the Cohen went up to Mount Hor at the command of Yahweh, and died there in the 40th year after the children of Yisrael had come out of the land of Mitzrayim, on the first day of the 5th month. Now Aharon was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. And the sovereign of Arad, the Canaanite, who dwelt in the Negev and the land of Canaan, heard of the coming of the children of Yisrael. So they departed from Mount Hor, and camped at Salmonah. And they departed from Salmonah, and camped at Punon. And they departed from Punon, and camped at Ovoth. And they departed from Ovoth, and camped at Iye Ha'avarim, at the border of Moab. And they departed from Iyim, and camped at Divon Gad. And they departed from Divon Gad, and camped at Almon Divlathayema. And they departed from Almon Divlathayema, and camped in the mountains of Avarim, before Nevo. And they departed from the mountains of Avarim, and camped in the desert plains of Moab, by the Yarden of Jericho. And they camped by the Yarden from Beth Yeshimoth, as far as Evel HaShittim, in the desert plains of Moab. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the desert plains of Moab, by the Yarden of Jericho, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you have passed over the Yarden into the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and shall destroy all their engraved stones, and shall destroy all their molded images, and lay waste all their high places. And you shall possess the land and dwell in it, for I have given you the land to possess. And you shall divide the land by lot as an inheritance among your clans. To the larger you give a larger inheritance, and to the smaller you give a smaller inheritance. Wherever the lot falls to anyone, that is his. You inherit according to the tribes of your fathers. And if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall be that those whom you let remain shall be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they shall trouble you in the land where you dwell. And it shall be that I do to you as I thought to do to them.
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 34. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Command the children of Israel, and say to them, when you come into the land of Canaan, this is the land which falls to you as an inheritance, the land of Canaan to its boundaries. Then your southern border shall be from the wilderness of Thin along the border of Edom, and your southern border shall be eastward from the end of the Salt Sea. Then your border shall turn from the southern side of the ascent of Akrabim, continue to Thin, and be on the south of Kadesh Barnea, and it shall go on to Chatzar Adar, and continue to Atzmon. And the border shall turn from Atzmon to the Wadi of Mitzrayim, and it shall end at the sea. As for the western border, you shall have the great sea for a border. This is your western border. And this is your northern border. From the great sea, you mark out your borderline to Mount Har. From Mount Har, you mark out your border to the entrance of Hamath, and the edge of the border shall be toward Thedad. And the border shall proceed to Ziphron, and it shall end at Chatzar Enan. This is your northern border. And you shall mark out your eastern border from Chatzar Enan to Shapham. And the border shall go down from Shapham to Rivlah on the east side of Ayin. And the border shall go down and reach to the eastern side of the Sea of Kinnereth. And the border shall go down along the Yarden, and it shall end at the Salt Sea. This is your land with its surrounding boundaries.
And Moshe commanded the children of Israel, saying,
This is the land which you inherit by lot, which Yahweh has commanded to give to the 9 tribes and to the half-tribe. For the tribe of the children of Reuven, according to the house of their fathers, and the tribe of the children of Gad, according to the house of their fathers, have received their inheritance, and the half-tribe of Manasseh has received its inheritance. The 2 tribes and the half-tribe have received their inheritance beyond the Yarden of Jericho, eastward toward the sunrise.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
These are the names of the men who divide the land among you as an inheritance: Eleazar the Cohen, and Yahshua son of Nun. And take 1 leader of every tribe to divide the land for the inheritance. And these are the names of the men. From the tribe of Yehudah, Caleb son of Yefuneh. And from the tribe of the children of Shimon, Shemuel son of Amihud. From the tribe of Binyamin, Elidad son of Kislon. And a leader from the tribe of the children of Dan, Buki son of Yogli. From the sons of Yosef, a leader from the tribe of the children of Manasseh, Haniel, son of Ephod, and a leader from the tribe of the children of Ephraim, Kemuel, son of Shiftan, and a leader from the tribe of the children of Zebulun, Elitzaphan, son of Parnach, and a leader from the tribe of the children of Issachar, Paltiel, son of Azan, and a leader from the tribe of the children of Asher, Achihud, son of Shelomi, and a leader from the tribe of the children of Naphtali, Pedeel, son of Amihud.
These are the ones Yahweh commanded to divide the inheritance among the children of Israel in the land of Canaan. Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 35. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe in the desert plains of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho, saying,
Command the children of Israel that they shall give the Levites cities to dwell in from the inheritance of their possession. Also give the Levites open land around the cities, and they shall have the cities to dwell in, and their open land for their cattle, and for their herds, and for all their livestock. And the open land of the cities which you give the Levites are from the wall of the city outward 1,000 amah all round. And you shall measure outside the city on the east side 2,000 amah, and on the south side 2,000 amah, and on the west side 2,000 amah, and on the north side 2,000 amah. And the city is in the middle. This is to them the open land for the cities. And the cities which you give to the Levites are the 6 cities of refuge, which you give to him who killed someone to flee to. And to these you add 42 cities. All the cities which you give to the Levites are 48, these with their open land. And the cities which you give are from the possession of the children of Israel. From the larger you give many, from the smaller you give few. Each one gives some of its cities to the Levites, in proportion to the inheritance that each inherits.
And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying,
Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you pass over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall choose cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the one who accidentally killed someone shall flee there. And they shall be cities of refuge for you from the revenger. And the one who killed someone is not to die until he stands before the congregation in right ruling. And of the cities which you give, 6 are to be cities of refuge. Give 3 cities beyond the Jordan, and give 3 cities in the land of Canaan as cities of refuge. These 6 cities are for refuge for the children of Israel, and for the sojourner, and for the settler in their midst, for anyone who accidentally kills someone to flee there. But if he has smitten him with an instrument of iron, so that he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall certainly be put to death. And if he has smitten him with a stone in the hand by which one could die, and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall certainly be put to death. Or if he has smitten him with a wooden instrument that could kill, and he dies, he is a murderer. The murderer shall certainly be put to death. The revenger of blood himself puts the murderer to death. When he meets him, he puts him to death. And if he thrusts him through in hatred, or throws at him while lying in wait, so that he dies, or in enmity he smites him with his hands so that he dies, the one who smote him shall certainly be put to death, for he is a murderer. The revenger of blood puts the murderer to death when he meets him. But if he pushes him suddenly, without enmity, or throws at him without lying in wait, or uses a stone by which a man could die, throwing it at him without seeing him, so that he dies while he was not his enemy, or seeking his harm, then the congregation shall judge between him who killed someone and the revenger of blood according to these right rulings. And the congregation shall rescue the one who killed someone from the hand of the revenger of blood, and the congregation shall return him to the city of refuge where he had fled, and he shall remain there until the death of the Kohen HaGadol who was anointed with the Kodesh oil. But if the one who killed someone at any time goes outside the limits of the city of refuge where he fled, and the revenger of blood finds him outside the limits of his city of refuge, and the revenger of blood kills him who killed someone, he is not guilty of blood, because he should have remained in his city of refuge until the death of the Kohen HaGadol. But after the death of the Kohen HaGadol, he who killed someone is to return to the land of his possession. And these shall be for a law of right ruling to you throughout your generations in all your dwellings. Whoever kills someone has to be put to death as a murderer by the mouth of witnesses. But one witness does not bear witness against someone to die. And take no ransom for the life of a murderer who is guilty of death, but he shall certainly be put to death. And take no ransom for him who has fled to his city of refuge to return to dwell in the land before the death of the Kohen. And do not profane the land where you are, for blood profanes the land, and the land is not pardoned for the blood that is shed on it, except by the blood of him who shed it. And do not defile the land which you inhabit, in the midst of which I dwell. For I, Yahweh, am dwelling in the midst of the children of Israel.
Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 36. And the heads of the fathers of the clans of the children of Gilad, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, of the clans of the sons of Yosef, came near and spoke before Moshe and before the leaders, the heads of the fathers of the children of Israel, and said,
Yahweh commanded my master to give the land as an inheritance by lot to the children of Israel. And my master was commanded by Yahweh to give the inheritance of our brother Zelophehad to his daughters. Now if they are married to any of the sons of the other tribes of the children of Israel, then their inheritance shall be taken from the inheritance of our fathers, and shall be added to the inheritance of the tribe into which they marry, and taken from the lot of our inheritance. And if the Yovel of the children of Israel takes place, then their inheritance shall be added to the inheritance of the tribe into which they marry, and their inheritance taken away from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers.
And Moshe commanded the children of Israel according to the word of Yahweh, saying,
What the tribe of the sons of Yosef speaks is right. This is the word which Yahweh has commanded for the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, Let them marry who is good in their eyes, but let them marry only within the clan of their father's tribe. And the inheritance of the children of Israel is not to change hands from tribe to tribe. For every one of the children of Israel is to cling to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. And every daughter possessing an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel is to be the wife of one of the clan of her father's tribe, so that the children of Israel possess each the inheritance of his fathers. Thus the inheritance is not to change hands from one tribe to another, but every tribe of the children of Israel is to cling to its own inheritance.
As Yahweh commanded Moshe, so did the daughters of Zelophehad. For Mahlah, Tirza, and Hoglah, and Milcah, and Noah, the daughters of Zelophehad, were married to the sons of their father's brothers. And they were married into the clans of the children of Manasseh, the son of Yosef. And their inheritance remained in the tribe of their father's clan. These are the commands and the right rulings which Yahweh commanded the children of Israel by the hand of Moshe in the desert plains of Moab by the Yarden of Jericho.